I hope that we see a little bit of flair coming from XG and just going back to the foundations of why Tundra is here.
Yeah, and that 4 versus 5 you said, that's their result in games, not in series, which is why those numbers are slightly different. Now, with both of these teams being so nicely even in playstyle, we can expect a lot of them, and we learned a lot about them yesterday as well. There is one big thing that could potentially determine the outcome of the game already, and that is the draft. So let's get going.
Tundra Esports versus Xtreme Gaming. Game 1.
Here we go, we got Xtreme Gaming starting this series on the Radiant side with first pick. Tundra will start this series on, Tundra starts on the Radiant side with second pick and Xtreme with first pick on the Dire side. So basically the way it always is, whoever's Radiant gets overall last pick. And we are in the ban phase already, and in terms of heroes we won't be seeing, I don't think anybody is surprised to see that Thompson's Invoker is removed from the pool. I do think a lot of people are sad, but look,
yeah, unfortunately we're not going to see it. Thompson, too good of a player. Two heroes I'm looking good in the first phase for Xtreme Gaming, Marana and Tusk. Both are still going to be available, so they get to choose which one they want to take.
And Tinker as well.
Tinker as well. The DY's Tinker is really mean. He takes a lot of farm. That's why we see Jin-Q not getting the priority, not getting all of his items that he maybe wants to buy in the game, but they look pretty impressive every single time they play Tinker.
And Tundra still having some memories of the series last night, because this is the first time that against Xtreme, Visage is banned against them in the first phase. Like, normally, Xtreme likes to go for the Naga Siren, the Train Protector, the Tusk, the Marana, the Tinker.
Sayang wala kang pusta
They've never
dito.
gone for a first pick Visage, but Tundra already going, you know what? We'll take it away in the first phase when we have the bans available. In the second phase when we have a single ban, we now don't have to think about it, but it does open up for the comforts of Xtreme to bleed into the first pick.
And for Tusk, this is a hero that has picked so many times with such a high win rate. Incredibly strong start as Tundra's start.
First pick Sniper.
Is going
Wow.
Sniper.
Battle for Sniper.
Oh yes.
Did they hear us showing that graphic?
Yeah, I
Hello,
think so.
sound check.
I think Thompson wants to prove a point. If it is Thompson that will play
Ako
it,
ilalagay
I know
mukha ko
there is
dito.
potential, flex potential. We've seen Saxa play it this week as
Lilitan ko
well.
lang pala to.
But maybe indeed. Maybe.
Matter of pride.
Yes.
It's got to be a mid sniper. You've got to show XM that you're gonna take his sniper and beat him with it.
You picked Sniper against the best sniper team in the world, I would say. They
Grabe.
know how to counter this hero. They
Sure.
know the matchups.
And that's the risky part.
And again, the thing with Sniper is support Sniper and core Sniper are very different. Support Sniper, you need to have a winning lane. You need a team that wants to play into the map aggressively and continue hunting for your opponent. If the game ever stabilizes, you always wish you had a support in the 4 realm that could do something else. Play for pickoff, play a wider map. But from the mid lane, you normally punish most mid laners, you prevent them from being active in the early game, and then you become an additional core that you need to somehow find the sniper whilst killing off the carry, surviving the initiation from the offlane. Hence why it is such a high value here at the moment, because yeah, again, I prefer it in the mid. I'm hoping it is mid.
Kailangan
The
naman close
sub
out.
40%, and from mid it's easily above 50.
Yeah, for Saxa this event so far, the win rate is 0.
Sana piliin ng Xtreme Gaming Spectre.
It's a tough one. We got ourselves a Luna removed from the pool and a Willow, and that is unusual, Effie. Normally we don't see Willow banned.
It is, but when you think about Mars as a hero, he functions very well with Sniper, and one of his best combinations in the game is Dark Willow. So this Dark Willow just could be preparation for in case the Ramses Mars does come out, because if it does, then it's telegraphing a mid-sniper.
I think if Tundra doesn't pick up Mars, Xtreme Gaming will. These are the two teams that utilize the hero extremely well. Ramses, he had a pretty small hero pool when it comes down to him playing at the Riyadh Masters. He did expand his hero pool, adding some new heroes like Kunkka. He did play Alchemist off lane, and did surprise Balkans with that Night Stalker pick. So he has some of these pocket picks that he could bring to the table if it's necessary.
Yeah,
Mumukbang tayo ng siopaw.
Night Stalker makes a re-emergence, especially if XM goes for some puck on 18, like he does have a specific hero pool in his Viper, in his Sniper, in his Razor, but often on the overall 18 pick, which is the second phase where they close it out, he will go for Storm or puck. That's what they were doing during group stages.
In Tundra right now, they have the option of, I'd like to see them maybe pick the 5 to keep the draft a little bit more open. You don't want to go offlane and maybe get a counter pick so quickly. But again, the difficulty with the 5 pick here is you might go for the Omni Knight for Whiteman to push the hero forward. If Sniper's mid, getting an additional repel onto the Sniper will help a lot in the clutch moments. Or there's still the Elder Titan that Whiteman's played a lot.
Shadow Demon for me is a big one. This
It's still
hero
available,
is
yeah.
still available. Hero that does pretty much everything, but it's just gonna be Mars. It's too good of a pick. It took them a little bit more time to think about it because we said it's gonna be highly contested in this game. Now you need some kind of vision. You have save with the Tusk, but you need vision inside the arena.
I have a question.
Yes.
If Willow was banned out to not make that strong combination with the Mars for Tundra, why wouldn't they just ban out the Mars?
I fully agree, but I'm expecting Xtreme has already assumed Tundra will automatically go for Mars, because if Tundra don't take Mars, Xtreme will go Mars +1. Therefore, it's like, okay, don't ban the Mars, let them have it, and then we know what lane it is instantly. And that was kind of my concern if Tundra did go for this route, because you know what the offlaner is, there's no flexibility with Mars. Mars Sniper or Mars plus any 4, it's going to be the same thing. I'd like to think Xtreme just want Tundra to draft in an expected way.
But also, they've let Mars through on Xtreme. They've run crazy things like Undying plus Medusa.
Bali,
They have
ano
their own
pala
take
to?
on how to beat
Lower
Mars on lane, and if they take away
bracket
something like a Willow, they
semifinals.
want that combo up because that means that they're going to pick a mobility-based laner from either the mid lane or the carry. And Brambles are
Ooh,
so annoying
that's
versus
F.
mobility heroes.
And here it is. It's like, congratulations, you got your Mars, but now you're going to be laning into a Drinking Buddies
Oh,
Tusk with the
yeah,
Shadow
right.
Fiend, just constantly pushing down the Mars. And don't forget, what was it, Xtreme versus Heroic, where Xtreme takes a fight in their own
Mukbang,
triangle,
Siopaw.
they clutch up, get 3 or 4 kills, walk down mid, Arme just hits tier 3, tier 4, boom, Ancient's gone. Like, it is scary, and hero, we don't see that.
Safe
We don't
lane
see
to.
two range heroes often in the safe lane. It's also a flex pick, but I think the Shadowfin is going to be played by Ame in the safe lane, securing the lane, quite a lot of slows, something that
Safe
Mars
lane
doesn't
is
like to play
SF.
into. You also have Requiem, so when he drops down the arena, you're a BKB buyer, an early one, you can use that Requiem and try to fear them away from the big team fight. And I like this a lot. I think they're never going to lack damage. They have a good Roche taking potential.
And this hero gives them extra flexibility in the draft because now on this 18 pick, they could see what Tundra do here, and if
Thompson
instead of picking
Sniper.
for XM, they could pick something for XXS. They could go for a Visage or Enigma, and if they choose to do that based on what Tundra pick here, then they can move the Tusk to position
Yes.
4, play Jakiro with the Shadow Fiend. So it's a very good idea to set up for their overall last pick this phase.
Yeah, and for Tundra, they need to, if they want to keep the Sniper part of the draft alive, this is where you pick the carry. Of course, Luna has been banned out by Xtreme. That's often what we'd be calling here, but then they go for Shadow Demon. So Sniper is the mid lane. Clock, Shadow Demon are your supports, and I think Tundra has just
Yung safe
invited
lane nila
Xtreme
dito.
to, please, try and fight us. If you do, we'll disrupt safe who you go on. There'll be a hook shot to turn around, plus the arena. The entire early game of Tundra after laning phase you won't see them really make too many smoke plays, but kind of bait Xtreme to make these opportunities.
Void.
Yeah, Xtreme now, they want to take the fight.
Okay. So
Mid lane Shadow Fiend, the carry Void, like this is damage absolutely everywhere.
that's why I said that this
Safe lane,
game is
center.
never gonna be able to lose in like 20 minutes, or if it comes down to 40 minutes, they will always have something. So Shadow Fiend, Faceless Void, really good scaling lineup. And they also picked Shadow Demon into Jakiro. I like Shadow Demon overall as the hero, but sometimes it can be tricky. You use that disruption. It's a pretty good setup for an Ice Bat once you come out.
I really like this. I really like what they've done here, picking the Faceless Void. It's a hero that's not threatened by Mars at all, and it's also going to be their catch for this mid sniper that was confirmed by the Clockwork Shadow Demon picks in this phase. But also, what SF does mid versus sniper is that you are looking at Tundra's draft. They have a Shadow Demon. They're going to stack that triangle ridiculously.
One
but if
more
you can just
pling.
do a +1 rotation with this SF, with those raises, you can contest those stacks early on. And let's not forget, XM at the Riyadh tournament, he was the SF player for Xtreme Gaming. In this tournament, it was Ame, but he has played so much SF, and he's confidently said, if you leave me this hero, I will pick it and I will beat you with it.
Ang gagamitin ni
For
Pure
Xtreme,
dito.
The way that they pick the Faceless Void is they see a lack of tower damage early on from Tundra, a lack of map progression. So often we're just saying, you know what, Xtreme draft is a little bit greedy.
Binana
How do they get
Centaur,
online? But
nice.
how does Tundra actually punish the greed? They themselves want to be efficient. Like Effie's mentioning, make the stacks, farm the stacks. Their entire
Ano
plan
pa available
from
na?
laning phases look backwards to your own jungle.
Underlord.
Therefore, they're looking good. And I'm assuming the Shadow Fiend will go for maybe, is it like magic damage from the mid lane, allow your void to carry. You see Sniper early on, quick jump onto him. But it's this choice. It's depending on your last pick, he easily can still go for a right click and just ball up into a clicking lineup with the.
I'm just very excited to see Shadow Fiend against Sniper, and then the Shadow Fiend played by what we determined based on statistics. That is the best Sniper player, so he'll know exactly how to play that lane against that Sniper.
Timber
Yeah,
Saw.
we've seen usually the counters for snipers were these heroes that could keep the distance, like Zeus, Keeper of the Light, when Sniper was first picked a couple of months ago as well. So you did not want to get killed, you also wanted to get some extra farm, get the stacks in your own jungle. And Magnus, I was looking at the heroes that they've been playing, because he has relatively small hero pool, and if you open up his Dota Pro tracker, he did play 4 Magnus games in the last 7
Underlord.
days.
Might be a crazy suggestion, but I kind of want XSS to play the chaotic hero that does anything. He's played like Bristle before, but I don't think they care about teamfight anymore. They don't care about the scaling. They just want a noisy hero from the offlane to potentially
Bristle
throw him
ba?
on like a Bristle, throw him on a hero that can just, you know,
Walang
farm up the
saan
early stacks.
farm
Because
yan.
Void can't farm the Ancient. Shadow Fiend also doesn't really. I mean, he can,
Pwede
but
rin.
I feel like an early stack taker on Xtreme plus map playing hero, soak up the initiation of
Axe.
the Mars, and then give free entry to the fight with the Void of the
Wala
Shadow
naman sa
Fiend.
meta
That's kind of like
Axe.
the archetype of the offlane I'm looking for.
Well,
Timber Saw.
XXS, when he first came into the scene, it was his Legion commander that's shown brightest, but I don't know if that hero is dead.
Timber Saw Underlord.
Oh, too bad. It would be really nice.
I mean, if you're talking about noise, we just saw a Timber Saw go overall.
Hero
forgotten
na
in
lang
the
ni
draft,
Pure,
and he did a
tas
lot of
off
damage
lane.
in that last pick.
But no,
Banda
yeah,
ng
like
user.
Bristleback for me sounds really exciting. It also adds goo to amp
Di
the tag
pwede ang
team,
draw.
the Drinking Buddies, the Shadow Fiend with the Void. Like, there's
Lina.
it adds the extra layer of complexity.
Safe lane
of how
Lina.
to even beat it.
Pwede ba yan?
And then same thing. I think Timber sure can work really well.
Masyadong
I think
squishy.
Kunkka, if Kunkka's still available, right? Something cheap could be really good. Something that buys auras, because you have Shadow Fiend, Faceless Void. I don't want to see something super greedy.
Offlane kailangan na Xtreme dito. Sana manalo ang
The reason why I
Xtreme.
like it so much is
So
we've
mag-champion
seen
si
how good
Ame.
it is against the Mars in certain situations.
Oh.
Okay, second
Oh, like,
Lycan of the
nice.
tournament. Aurora yesterday, they did bring it up
Push.
one time and it looked good. It
Pwedeng
looked much
push,
better than
pwedeng
expected.
paghahunt ng
With the wolf
sniper, pwede
facet,
rin.
Oh!
Oh!
Some animals coming
Wow.
out here. The wolf versus the bear.
I don't know which one I like more. Like, Xtreme, the Lycan, it's really exciting when you have the wolf facet, finding the Shadow Demon, constantly scouting with the wolves, the little roots. It's so obnoxious to play against. And Tundra, it's like, they do not want to get to mid to late game against Xtreme. Like,
Game
they do want them
one.
to have 2 to 3 items on their cores, so they go for a lone druid. They want to try and, you know, break that offlane, prevent Lycan from having a good time. And
I have a couple of notes. I think that Lycan yesterday when Jabs played it versus Xtreme completely made Sniper's game difficult in the early game, so that last pick is great for them. As for
Let's go, Whitemon! Kaso gusto ko manalo si na
Xtreme
Ame.
have beat Lone Druid before in games where Lone Druid has stomped them in the early game. Once, back when they were on the Azure Ray with the triple X's, they were playing versus Gaming Gladiators. Ace was completely crushing them with Lone Druid. They made the comeback and they beat him. In this tournament, they did the same thing. They beat a Lone Druid during the group stages. So if I have faith in a team to beat that hero, it is Xtreme Gaming.
Both teams stole a pick, like these
Yeah.
crazy picks from the teams that they played against yesterday. So now we have Lycan against Lone Druid, and they're going to use it to their own advantage. Xtreme Gaming, it is greedy. This is Faceless Void, Lycan. Lycan, even though he comes online relatively early on, you still have Shadow Fiend on your team. Not a lot of setup in terms of how they're going to play the fights early on. So Ame, we've seen him being very active. So time zone, this is what I want to see again. He jumps into a fight, slows them down, leashes them, and then go from there.
massive timer for Tundra. So they need to win.
Last
early,
time,
the later
time
the
zone
game
din
goes,
ginamit ng
Xtreme has the entire
Xtreme.
late game. So if you're a Tundra
Hindi
fan,
chrono.
30 minutes on the clock, get it going. If they haven't won by then, it's going to be real difficult.
Okay, let's see what's going to happen in this first game of this best of 3 in the lower bracket. Before we head to that game, though, we're first going to check in with Coach Maps, who's talking to Tsunami.
Thank you very much. I am joined by Maps, coach of Xtreme, and Helen will be helping me translate because I wanted to know about how the meta has evolved. We are now on the second to last day of
Let's
this
go,
event.
Ame
But
SF.
we've been going through the road all this time. How has the strategies the hero
Pag
picks
natalo
changed
dito,
over all
laglag
these
sina
days?
Thompson.
这个比赛也打了那么多天了，我们想问一下，你对整个战术上的大趋势有什么改变？有什么看法呢？
就可能大家更注重线上，然后各个队每个队都有自己喜欢玩的东西，然后去针对嘛。
I think that everyone prioritizes lanes, and every team has their own specialties, heroes that they love to play. So it's around that.
Well, on the topic of specialty heroes, I'm also wondering, how do you as a coach prepare for a player like Thompson, who has like an endless wealth? He can play basically any hero under the sun mid. What do you do to deal with that?
就说到喜欢打的英雄，我们想问一下，你对于对手有那么一位选手 Thompson， 游戏里面可选的英雄他都有可能玩，去怎么针对他呢？
首先他是一个英雄是非常广的选手，就也没有特意去针对他吧，只是让他的节奏可以缓和一点。我们也能猜到他可能是个火枪手，所以选了个狼人，就昨天欧罗拉教我们的嘛。
So Thompson has a super wide hero pool. He can play anything, and we did expect that he would play sniper, but we took out something of our own. We picked Lycan that we learned from Aurora yesterday.
Yung taga-push. Ay, yung nga pala. Si Jabs nga pala yung gumamit kahapon.
The uncrowned Prince of China still awaits a coronation that has already been denied twice. This time,
Let's go, Ame!
way is a Royal Road regent looking to
Ay,
add
Ame!
third ages to its
Chrono
armory.
Spear.
It's
Tapos si
Ame
XM
versus
pa lang
Thompson.
SF.
Extreme
Nice!
versus Tundra. It's China versus Europe, Avery.
China versus
This
Europe.
match has been in the making for a long time. The funny thing is, I think these are two teams who, yeah, top 6 is great, but it is not enough for either of these squads. They want more. I don't think they're going to be satisfied with top 4. They might not even be satisfied with the top 3, but these are difficult opponents to get through to clinch that grand finals berth. This is where it all starts for both of these squads, and I think this has potential to be an absolutely explosive match. We have seen the chemistry between these two teams grow over the course of the tournament. We've seen the meta develop. We've seen the creativity as well between these two squads. That's what strikes me the most. They're willing to pick up some of these heroes other teams are not willing to play, willing to steal strats from their opponents, willing to bust out heroes that even if it falls completely flat, they still have the confidence to run. And we are absolutely seeing that here with some of these picks down the stretch.
Now, you say explosive, but the draft seems to imply that we're going to be looking at something a little bit slower here, or at least that's what we would expect from certain heroes like Faceless Boy, Lone Druid perhaps, but how do you view this draft and how it's going to clash?
That's it,
I mean,
guys.
both teams have some tempo setters. Like, you have heroes that can take down the tier 1s very early in the game. You have heroes that can play off some low cooldowns. Sure, you have some of those bigger teamfight spells as well on both sides. Heroes like the Mars or Faceless Void, even the Sniper are okay going late. But on the flip side, the Lycan and the Lone Druid are going to want to push. They're going to want to take objectives, and they're going to want to find these supports or break that front line as fast as they can. I am also looking towards this Lone Druid Lycan lane, because in theory, I think Lone Druid can win any lane in Dota. It's very hard to out-execute this hero, but if XXS gets a good start here and he can disable the backline from Tundra, can really open up the fight.
So the laning phase is going to be particularly important. See that Thompson versus XM matchup. A lot of talk about that on the panel. The sniper being taken away from Xtreme and XM in particular and put into the hands of Thompson, who I think before this year was heralded as probably the best sniper mid in the world.
Yeah, I think you have two mid laners who would both say they're the best sniper in the world. One of them has to be wrong by default, but they would both claim that prize. The interesting thing about this mid lane is that XG picked the SF into the sniper, knowing the sniper was coming out and knowing it was likely mid, because Tundra have not had a lot of success with the support sniper this tournament. I think it was very unlikely they wanted to push it into that role. But historically, this is an awful lane matchup for Shadowfield. You kind of get owned on the lane. The in-game isn't too much better. I think the Kaya build up into early blink can help you in this matchup. You just play more of a spellcaster, find the sniper early on in the fight with a stun and blow him up with Requiem. It definitely helps this matchup a lot, but I'm a little surprised they went to the SF that early in the draft when you kind of know this lane matchup is supposed to be decent for the sniper at least.
And we see the magic damage build SF. That is a Shadow Fiend that, you know, had his time in the sun and very quickly got roasted in the middle of the year, right? Like, it was popping up a lot. People were drafting it a lot, and it just could not seem to close out games.
I mean, maybe that's why you pair it with the Void here, right? Sure. If you need the extra punch in that late game. There is almost no hero better than the Faceless Void, and almost no better player in the world on this hero right now than Ame. He is the one carry who's been picking this hero through thick and thin. Even in the patches where it hasn't been great, he's still been willing to pick it up and experiment with this time zone. And
First blood.
First
blood. Ay!
Whips the spear, and Ame and DY will get the kill.
That is a huge pickup for this XG safe lane. When you are getting kills with Faceless Void, you feel like you are just winning the game straight up. And this is going to be a very strong ultimate for XG to play around as well. Normally, I would say this is a lineup where you have to worry about how you're positioning the Chronos so that your SF and Lycan can still have teamfight impact. Do not have to worry about it this game at all with the time zone. XG strike first blood here. Will get on the board, and the lanes overall going very well for them. You have XXS basically free farming this off lane. He's not getting bullied off the lane in the early waves by the lone druid. And the SF is going fairly even mid, honestly. I thought with some of the early shrapnel abuse, Thompson might take a stronger lead, but XM holding his own.
They've got an interesting bit of synergy. I was taking a look at some of the facets there, and Jakiro no longer opting for the ice facet that everybody was going throughout the year. That was pretty much like, it was overpowered. Let's be clear. It needed to be nerfed. Now opting for the liquid fire in this place, combined with the time zone and even the Alpha Wolves, we've got some kind of synergy between just anti-attack speed. Yep. Right? They're going to be throwing this bear could have a very hard time getting hits in these team fights.
I think hero pick developed in the Thundra's lineup because this used to be one of the old school counters
bear
to
Lone Druid.
Just mask the attack speed slows similar to Phoenix. It's a good matchup for Jakiro for sure. Not a carry that gap closes him. Not a hero he really has to worry about. You just throw all your spells out in the fight and the bear has to fight through it. I think XG are kind of happy with how that worked out. And like you said, a lot of attack slows for this bear to fight through. Pure, he wants a very strong early game here so he can just control when Tundra are forcing the objectives and you kind of overcome that deficit in the team fight.
Yeah. And then on the other side, another interesting facet that our observer was pointing out, we've got hookup for the Clockwork. So we've seen this here and there. It sometimes feel like maybe it's less about the hookup and more about just having smaller cogs in certain matchups. But do you think this is something he's actually going to use defensively for this sniper and this lone druid hero?
Yeah, I mean, when your team gets time zoned, you hook shot in and they get a bunch of armor and then you're stuck there too. So
right,
perfect synergy you're looking for. I think the armor can be nice in the late game. It's nice for the bear. I don't know if you can hook shot the bear or you really want to, but hey, if the bear blocks you, then I guess it works out either way.
Yeah, it's a combination of all these AoE disables that they have. I do question whether or not the Clockwork wants to stack hero on top of heroes between Time Zone, Ice Path, Macro Pyre, SF ults.
Yes,
you know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot of team fight. I'm also looking towards this Shadow Demon. It's been a very influential hero this tournament. Soxa is one of the best players on this hero in the world. And I'm more looking towards the cleanse. Like, I feel like at a certain point in this game, you almost want to throw the cleanse on the bear to help him out. Just debuff a lot of those attack speeds, those we were talking about, and help him output the damage that you need. This Lone Druid Faceless Void matchup can get scary if the Lone Druid gets out of control. He just starts barreling down your objectives. If you mess up one time zone fight, suddenly Pure has 2 minutes where he doesn't have to worry about a team fight. He's going to take Roshan, he's going to take your buildings, he's going to farm the map. This is not a game where XG can idly throw out these ultimates and just say, okay, like we got a random support kill for our big ults, we're happy with that. Tundra are going to be able to take a lot off the map during that period.
Touching on the Shadow Demon, you like the cleanse for this game, but why has this hero been so popular and so successful in this meta?
He's a very good stacker. I think his laning got improved a lot, and I think he's really nice with the frontline heroes that have developed in this tournament. Heroes like the Sand King or whatever, you go in, your spells are doing massive damage. If you commit on the Sand King, Disruption bails him out while his spells are still running. Some of these combinations like that are really obnoxious to teamfight into, and of course, I mean, Shadow Demon, his scale is monstrous. You go into the late game with this hero, he always has tools he can build into. He's a hard save, he's a hard BKB piercing disable. It's pretty hard to go wrong with that toolkit.
Yeah, and in this case, you've got some very clear backline you want to be able to save between the sniper and the Lone Druid hero. And especially the Lone Druid hero, right? Putting that, if they try and go on the hero, you put him under the disruption, the bear is still, you know, swinging on you during that time.
So I will say, if you have to disrupt the Lone Druid, you might be in a bit more trouble than you bargained for, because that hero, in theory, should not need a disruption.
And could just set up for something like a Shadow Fiend ultimate in certain points of the game. Shinkyu barely able to get away from the bear. Throws back a little shard. Bit of pressure coming out from Tundra.
Tundra winning this laning phase for sure. And we're starting to see that gap open up a little bit more on mid. 14 denies for the sniper. Denying some of that experience out from the SF in the one-on-one. In fact, XM just forced into the jungle early. Getting a little bit of some stacks going for himself. Not too sad about this, but this is kind of the downside of that SF pick into the sniper. You're giving Thompson a very good laning phase here. He's going to have very high solo experience on the map, and if he can get involved in some early skirmishes or make rotations, this is a hero. I think XM might be the best sniper in the world, but I think Thompson is the best at using this hero in the early game. Especially if he starts that snowball and he has supports that can play around him. So we'll see how many resources XG decide to put into stopping this sniper around the map. As we've already seen him just rotate the bottom, has an observer ward as well. This is a strong rotation. Do not know if XXS is ready for this at all.
Oh, nice rotation, fast rot. Aga mag-rotate ni Thompson. Very nice. But can they take the tower?
Tundra.
6 minutes though, coming up the clock, so maybe you sacrifice the power rune with this move, but no,
nice!
Saksa
Oh, nakuha pa ni Saksa.
Anyway, and it's going to output some free damage on this SF as his mana pool climbs back up. Very clean rotation here from Tundra, getting the sniper involved early. Now, the big question mark here is, do you rotate back to bottom again to try and kill this Lycan one more time on the TPN and look for the 7-minute wisdom rune? That would be some huge rotation potential in the next minute here.
A massive win. And Xtreme had been subject to that kind of pressure before.
Yep.
You're going to catch him here on the assassinate. Just a bit of damage. Push him back. Disruption. A couple
Hinaharas lang eh.
A blood grenade even. Does he think he can actually get this kill? It's going to rely on landing the poisons. He got a fourth one.
Oy! Oy! Galing naman! What? What? Pog!
What a move. I thought this was just some harassment to clear up the map, but Saksa says, no, my friend.
What a pickup for Tundra. The stand-in doing some
Partida stand-in lang si Saksa.
Tundra as they managed to get a kill on the enemy mid.
Problema sa visa yung isang member nila.
It's just claimed on either side. No steals here, but damage on the mid tower is beginning to ramp up.
Some morale damage as well. Like your SF is just dying to a Shadow Demon. There's nothing else happening on the map. This is already rough.
Grabe naman.
Traded out the Wisdom Runes, which I think XG are happy about, but you're looking at this net worth chart, and it is a little worrying if you start to continue to fall behind in this early game. Are you going to have the manpower to defend your tier 1s against a push that can come, and guess what? It's here.
What a push it is. Tundra, 2-man rotation through the gates, trying to catch Ame here. One-time block to work with, will be able to walk it off.
Hala ko 5-man rotation agad eh.
No damage coming in just yet, but they are going to be able to keep this loop around. Is there going to be anybody from Xtreme or going to
boom, one down
on this? It seems like with 5 heroes in the top part of the map, Xtreme say, whatever man, you can have it.
They're going to trade bottom out with the Lycan. That is what they're trying to get right now. Also got a lot of tower damage mid with this Shadow Fiend. Saksa will deny himself back to base. This is not the worst objective trade for XG on the map right now if they don't bleed out some big heroes. They just don't have ults to defend this. You're missing the time zone. Your SF was kind of low on resources, but now they're making the delayed rotation, so Tundra do not want to get caught up here. Ramses
XM throws out the arena. XM stuck on the other side of it, but close enough to get some raises in. And Shinkyu, they'll be able to finish it up for XM, no problem. And now it's in turn Xtreme Gaming's chance to take that support kill, or core kill rather, and hit some tower.
Thompson just wailing on this tier 1 mid in the meantime, trying to return the favor. He's going to get it pretty low as XG just commit everybody for this top tier 1 as well. A lot of early tower damage and pressure in this game.
Which tower do you think is worth more? Which real estate is more valuable here?
I mean, honestly, the fact XG got this offlane tier 1 is not a tower I would have expected to go down, where I think these tier 1s mid are inevitable. Like, you were going to get this no matter what.
Sure.
It's just going to open up some room for the Void, make those rotations into XG safe lane a little bit harder. I feel like XG kind of won this trade by some small margins. Like, when you can win these objective trades early with a Faceless Void, you should be happy. And we've seen XG prioritize Ame's farm a lot on this hero in the early games. They're not afraid to commit resources into the Void to have him pay it back later. Nonetheless, a lot of space for Thompson around this mid lane now. They're going to get the deep
dapat pinapakita din, pwede pakita nito kung anong facet yung pinili nila.
on the SF or some supports roaming through.
Now,
Hindi
Xtreme
nakakontrol
should know general idea where that ward is because they had a ward after the
ito,
tower died.
pwede
They know that
pala.
kind of invasion is coming
May
their way,
kita
so they have a ward
pala.
out to see the move.
Kanilang facet. Op. Team fight.
Ame cutting in. Looks like they've already caught Whitemon.
Patay.
Looking for a bit more. While they get Whitemon, Ame thinks about whether or not he can keep chasing. 10-minute power rune is what he's going to play for here, and does manage to get an amp damage.
That's a nice rune to take away. I mean, I don't know if he wants to be in the river with the Void at 10 minutes, but he will gladly take the rune away. And
well, he certainly doesn't want to be top where the lone druid has come
trade
through the
na
game
lang.
once again to, if nothing else, take the tower.
so there's a deep ward up here for XG that can kind of control Tundra's movement through that side of the map, but they probably have other plans, which is, you know, get this lone druid massively farmed up top with a lot of the space that's been opened up, and get some stacks going for the sniper. You want to hit these first 2 damage items and then take a good fight off that. Meantime, this tower is still alive bottom. It feels like a lot of the damage is coming down to these tier 1s, which
Amplified damage na pala ngayon tawag dun.
Do have that HOD up for XXF down here. He would love to start pushing some buildings.
Uy, nice! Grisamon.
In order to try and contest the Lycan push that's
Oy,
happening.
huli.
GQ sitting on the side here, spotted by Whitemon.
Grabe yung slow.
Cuts him out with the flare. Do they want to try and defend this?
Wala na.
He has been active in this early game with this Void. Maybe not finding the fights or the damage, but
Bawi
he
lang.
has made a lot of moves on this hero. So open up the last tower on the side lane for Tundra. Create some space and pressure for XG if they can get these lanes in deep. Still have that tier 1 mid to play around.
We're also still waiting on the level 6s for some
Huli
of these
ka.
supports. Like the clockwork would make it a lot easier to catch these supports, but we'll find DY anyway, trying to D-ward. Gets denied by Thompson.
Ay, hindi tumama.
Ame finds some space at the top lane, just keeps on. I feel like he's playing a little game of cat and mouse or maybe cat and bear as he's trying to stay away from wherever Pure is set up, right?
He's the big threat on the map. Like, the Mars and the Clock are going to be your initiation every single fight. So if you keep track of them, you should be good on this map. And they are rushing towards the Gleipnir on the Lone Druid, and it'll be Hurricane Pike first for Thompson on this sniper. So those are going to be the 2 big fighting items for Tundra. Would not be surprised if they force an earlier Roshan than maybe XG are ready for in this game, particularly if some of the ults get thrown out. We've yet to see a time zone in this game, yet to really see a Requiem. Do you have the blink first on XM's SF
Dominator
as well? So
na
this
to.
really shows you he wants to try and abuse some of the aspects of this SF sniper matchup as much as he can. Find some of those early kills, put it to use. Still a very even game across the board.
Yeah, Tundra just getting a 2,000 net worth lead, nothing major. Large part of that probably due to the tower advantage that they hold.
Should keep in mind some of this minus armor synergy.
So magical build ang SF.
It's a pretty deadly combination for supports. If you ever just get caught randomly in the fight, the wolves start eating you. You get chunked pretty fast on some of these low armor heroes. Yeah. If I'm Tundra, I want an AC at some point in this game. I would not mind a Shivas as well. Super valuable item versus these 3 right-click
through. Great target to be able to find. Got him on the other side of the shards, and then
Oy, na-stun! Ah, hindi na pag-requiem.
Swing of Tundra as they
Nice.
turn that gank
Nice
around.
rotation.
Beautiful play from Ramses, absolutely reading the map, backing up the vulnerable hero in this Thompson sniper and protecting him
Time
in this
zone
early
pa
game,
lang
and you get
pinili
a
niya.
big reward for 2 kills
Hindi
plus
chrono.
that SF going down, losing some souls. That was the blink move into the Requiem that you wanted to work, and you never even got there. And these are the types of misplays that if you get baited into these plays as XG, you lose some heroes, your towers and your map space is going to start to fall very fast to the Lone Druid.
Oh yeah, every fight that you lose, every gank that goes wrong, I feel like you're going to see the exact same scenario, which is Pure and his bear immediately hitting some sort of objective. They look to protect their Wisdom Rune instead of finishing off that tower, which is an interesting idea of priorities there.
Did get the glyph. He'll trade the Wisdom Rune, force Ame back to his side of the map. It was a decent amount of space for the Faceless Void, but still an exchange Tundra are very happy with. Now a 4K net worth. Pushing towards some more fighting items. BKB on the Mars would be huge here.
Especially since that save, yeah, it'll get the Hurricane Pike, which means now the Tusk is going to be way less effective against this sniper.
You need this time zone now. Like, Like, you are getting to a point where Ame has to join the fights to help you lock down these heroes and set the SF damage up. The Tusk is not good enough right now. This is also a point where XXS is pretty strong. Like, he went for an HOD into Drum, 2 early fighting items. He would like to get some skirmishes going with this Lycan, or just be able to even do Roshan right now if Tundra mess up on the map. Feels like you need kills to open that up, though. So they're going to make a smoke play, 3 of them.
Scout.
Not the easiest initiation for XG. Kind of just have to land a shard. And even then, like we saw on that previous gank, it's not a guaranteed kill. They will spot.
Yan na. Ang galing! Ay, walang tinamaan.
They go for it, hold the snowball over the top of all these heroes.
Walang namatay.
Stun anybody in time, so XM completely whiffs the Requiem. Just a shy bit of damage there. And Xtreme will have to turn suit and get on out of here.
Cool down.
Failed play for them. Does this mean Tundra is going to get aggressive again? Does that mean they're going to try and take another objective? They immediately 3-man smoke up and see what they can find.
Going straight into the triangle. Aggressive play, but they know there's no Lycan ult, no Requiem. And XG are likely going to split up on the map, so this should be
Uli, si
Try and get some vision, set up Ramses with his blink initiation, not even needed for DY in this case. He's going to blink deeper into the side of the map, look for other heroes.
Nice
but
one, Thompson.
it's just DY. Once again, like time and time again, this man has been
Wala, I missed yung gank. Hindi
they cannot stand toe-to-toe
objective.
against Tundra if even one of their spells is on cooldown.
And just look at how fast that tier 2
Bilis.
falls. This is the importance of
Basag
finding kills
agad eh.
with these ults on the side of XG. Tundra are going to get a lot out of the map every time you mess up. And that was just very on-point delivery of that Hurricane Pike for Thompson. That is what gets him out of that gank, and I think it was delivered less than 30 seconds before that gank hit. So laning phase for Thompson paying off here. They've yet to find a kill on this sniper in this game. That would be the biggest prize for XG to slow this game down. They'll have to just fall back on Ame farming. Or do they want to try and force Roshan?
Item check.
They have a lineup that can do it very fast.
Oh, bilis. Buo na agad ang Gleipnir.
That is an
May
interesting
dagger na.
proposition.
Going through BKB.
This is sneaky.
Oh,
I don't
sneaky
think Tundra
Rose.
are ready for this at all.
Nice.
They're not even in position to try and test this.
Oh, they don't have an idea they're getting Roshan.
Be a death sentence with some big AoE spells like Pit Time Zone at the ready, so
You cannot clump versus XG lineup, so this is just free Aegis into the hands of Ame, I would suspect. Yeah.
Nice.
But will that change much? I feel like an Aegis on a Faceless Void isn't going to stop Tundra from doing what they're doing right now.
This is not a great Aegis for team fighting,
Ay,
but it is an
ay,
Aegis
ay.
you took away from the Lone Druid.
Hello, good evening, guys.
Would love to pick this up somewhere in the next few minutes here. Enable his pushing, enable this Gleipnir bear timing. He's going straight into Diffusal. It's just going to be early.
Chill
fighting.
stream lang. Nanonood lang.
Tundra are gearing up for the early push.
This bear's a little bit low, might be able to pick up the kill on that, and he
Not bad.
does.
Plus 300.
Forces a resummon.
They still see though.
Easy
actually,
300 gold yun. Pag napatay yung
as much as they can.
bear.
Trying to get to the Kaya Yasha on the SF to help him get the Requiem off.
Just
And
try natin tong...
not going to be Helm of the Overlord. XXS just building, thinking about Vlad's here more.
Don't know what is this called. Basta saging.
Yeah, he picked up the shard
Saging
nice
snacks.
and early to try and keep, you know, these lanes pushed in, create more space for him and Ame to be able to find farm, but
Wala na.
push eventually comes to shove. Feel like Tundra would not be... I feel like they could kind of go high ground at some
Oy,
point.
nanakaw pa yung
It's
stocks.
gonna keep dodging, right?
It feels like they almost won to, but
Huli.
there's just stuff to claim on the map.
Ay,
Here will TB back, try and find the Jakiro again. And
huli na naman.
DY time and time again.
Nice.
He'll pay the
Space
price
created.
for the rest of his allies.
XG
Get some
continuing
info.
to dodge. I mean, this... It's starting to feel like whenever this time zone goes out, might decide a lot in this game, because we've yet to see it.
It better be the best time zone you've ever seen at this point, because we've been waiting for it for probably 10 minutes at this. But Ame holding on to it.
May ages nga.
Ramses feels here with this Invis.
Yan naman mga convert ng ano, objectives.
Going triangle with it, but again, it feels like if you get a pick off near XG's base, you just push the high ground, right? Bring everybody back, worst case scenario.
Oh yeah! Nice blink!
My goodness, that was a close call right there.
I mean, again, that is an extremely
bilis na
important
reaction.
Because if you get killed right there on this SF, your high ground's getting pushed.
That is the real dangerous part about dealing with any of these lanes. The closer you are to your base, it also means Tundra is very close to your base as well. They would much prefer
Bilis ng pacing.
that Tundra tries
Uli!
to down
Uli! Wala Aegis!
side of the map here,
Uli!
zeros away, and they're going to do just
Set it
that.
up.
He's got
Hmm.
Aegis. He's got some time walks. He's going to have to make some smooth moves to get out of this one. His first slice.
Wala akong sagpe!
Where's the help? Everybody's so far on the map for XG.
A hook shot to follow this up, perhaps.
Wala!
Fear's going to be used, and they got
May Aegis ka pa, ha?
easily a Requiem that barely touches Tundra.
Wala din! Inabot pa!
Time. Requiem's just not finding their mark. Xtreme not getting to the position in time to defend their carry.
What will Tundra get out of this? 20 seconds, no faces void. I mean, the good thing for XG is this void's so low level.
Oy! Huli!
Spawn timer's pretty
Huli ka dyan.
That was a nice ops from Tundra in their own jungle. I think Ame just didn't expect it. Allows for an easy setup here, and they get the double kill. This is where this bear is starting to hit hard. That defusal came online. Pure almost level 15 on this lone druid. Is very far ahead of this Faceless Void. This is where you want to be in this
Nanakaw pa
matchup.
yung Tormentor.
Faceless Void really struggles to deal with the timings Lone Druid can put out and in the team fight with the roots.
Hintayin nyo na, 20 seconds na lang.
Obnoxious. XG with a smoke of their own, they want to get this Lycan active. Vlad's is done for XXS, he has triple aura basically. But what can you do with it? We've
Ayun, takbo.
the lockdown be the issue.
Tapsan! Takbo!
A Hurricane Pike is only going to take Thompson so far here. The Lycan might be able to run him down, especially with these Alpha Wolves. They've got him surrounded. The shards, okay, and now there's a push away, and Lycan is totally given up on this one. He's left Xin-Q behind since just one hero showing himself team and was enough to deter that. Thompson from one shot to another. There's a second one at XXS, which Whitemon is not going to keep pursuing. He had the hook shot, but no follow-up besides that. So it's fine. 11 to 3 at 11,000. Continues to grow and grow for Tundra.
Another failed smoke move from XG. Another wasted
Wala na,
Lycan
basag
ult.
na lahat na outer
Just
tower.
Run away. As you've given up your ancient control. This is where one of your last wards is on the map too. XG want to use it. Want to fight.
Whitemon gets out.
Huli.
Just nice and clean. Just Cogs hits one, gets out. What happened to Pure? Man just died to Tormentor.
Yeah, he got absolutely murdered by this thing.
All right, Xtreme, a fourth kill on the board. They didn't do anything to deserve it.
Well, that is one way to bleed away some of your lead on this lone druid.
Ano namang kalokohan yan?
Those Tormentors, man, they'll get you.
It killed his bear, and he died basically to the pure damage rebound off the bear dying. Well, Pure struggles versus the PvE creeps on the map continue here.
Fitting that, you know, with BB team out of the tournament, somebody else has to take up the mantle of the Tormentor.
Did it for the boys out there. Though I will say, this is a big death. It's a lot of
downtime
right now. In a game they were struggling to find some opening. He's going back for round 2. Okay.
All right.
I'm just saying, my man, if this one doesn't work, we got to go back and do some.
Never give up.
Fight is breaking out bottom. XM gone.
Oy, patay. Sabog parehas. Dalawa. BKB na. Habang nagto-Tormentor yung kanilang post 1.
These tag team ganks for XG have not worked out at all.
No.
Ramsey's, he's just read them too well. He's in the right place every time. And his SF with no BKB just can't do anything in that sort of engagement.
I do call into question the wisdom of going for two-man ganks in the first place when I feel like we've seen Tundra willing to move 3 or 4 heroes around the map together.
Yep. It just hasn't worked. They're continuing to try and get it to work because they just don't want to bring their farmers into these moves because then if they go wrong, you're really screwed. Currently falling behind as XG, but you do have a chance to contest this next Roshan. You're going to not have the SF BKB though. That's the big missing component here.
Yeah. And probably where it went wrong there in that arena
Hindi
fight.
pa nagagamit yung time zone.
11,000 down to 8K.
23 minutes pa.
Unfortunate death from Pure, but back
23 minutes na, hindi pa nakakita ng time zone.
And look at this itemization on Thompson. This is a TI throwback right here. A defusal on a hero that I don't know if XG expected here. Double defusal blade out for Tundra in this match. Trying to remove the Faceless Void's mana.
And also just giving them a counter to time zone, right? And when they get the upgrade, they'll be able to just...
Disperser super
Ule.
valuable in this match.
And a boot to Bearing as a third counter to it as well. Potentially Jinkyu trying to buy himself a little bit of time here. That's all he will do. Time. The only resources he has, no HP to work with.
Feels like by the time we see
Hindi mapanala sa Xingqiu ngayon. Xingqiu, ano na?
You're running out of time here if you are XG. And the bear has met your base. The disperser's already done for Pure. So there's one of your answers online. Cliff already down as well. That's an early Cliff. Doors open.
Makatok na.
Where's the defense?
Makatok na sa pintuan nyo.
Different heroes out on the map right now. Finally, one of them comes back into Jakiro. Backdoor protection is up. They're getting cut right now.
Yeah,
That's
Wolves.
what's happening. Lycan managed to get the next wave in. So Tundra did what damage they could. And then, no, they have to call it quits. The Alpha Wolves come out to play.
Very heads-up move from XXS to stop this push that I don't think XG felt like they were going to win that fight head-on. This is a game of bend, don't break, continue to stall, try and get to the BKBs on the Void and the SF here. You can take that one good fight and come back in this game. That's all XG need. But Tundra are continuing to build a lead. Soxa getting messed up by these
Yan,
Wolves.
Shadow Demon. Banatan nyo.
That hamstring ability that the Alpha Wolves has can be deadly, but the Solar Crest goes a very long ways in protecting him, both with the extra barrier and the extra armor.
It's just side lanes. That is all XG are playing for right now. Get these two side lanes in as deep as possible. That Lycan shard helps. Someone always has to come back from Tundra, then you can look for an opening, stalls the push. However, the second disperser online for this sniper.
There go the Wolves again. Another push is coming down mid, and the Wolves are trying to push out. One on the left side of the mid lane, one on the right side.
Yeah,
one of the
amplify
Wolves is
damage.
already dead. The other one might still be able to cut the next wave coming in.
This is a catapult. XG cannot prevent the backdoor going down here. Thompson just laying into it from the low ground. I mean, are you going to take this fight or just give up the racks to try and get to your BKBs? It almost feels like you just want to give this up. Banish.
He's coming back. A disruption to set things up.
Huli.
No
SF.
BKB defend himself. He is all
Ang,
offense,
kailangan.
no defense. A nice snowball into the neutral camp that
Ba't
they
tayo
have
inabot?
vision of. He tries to go for a desperate TP out, but he is stuck here. The Cogs stop that one pretty easily. And once again, a duo of Xtreme that
Yes,
together
yan.
and died
Ngayon
together.
lang ulit.
And another rush just to get some of these.
Actually, lagi naman nanonood. Di ko lang in-stream.
No Wolves on mid to cut this wave. He's sending a Golem creep for it. The hero that XG need right now.
Ngayon lang. Kinakat ang creeps. Ah, bali wala.
Little golems come out, but the only
Wolves
last
naman.
long now the Wolves will try and pop out of invincibility, buying them a bit of time, but Tundra, yeah, as long as the Wolf is invisible, they don't even have to worry about it too much. It's dragging the creep wave that they're worried about right now.
Wala na, basag na mid nyo. Ay! Pinupull talaga yung creeps ko. Para may backdoor.
See how much more Pure gets. He will activate his ult and say, what are
Basag
you going
yan.
to do about it? And apparently nothing. XG concede a lane in favor of taking the fight with their BKB timings.
Megas na agad yan.
It's rain Xtreme. They're bending over
Uy,
backwards
huli.
at this point. One lane of barracks now potentially giving up two just in some sort of desperate point not to take a full-on team fight. They feel they cannot win without BKBs, but those BKBs
Wala sila magawa.
seem so
Hindi ko pa
far away.
nakikita ginagamit yung time zone. Ayan na!
They go for it anyway. They try and
Yun!
fight with the time zone.
Oh, wala!
Here he goes.
No!
They're on out of there. They'll leave the bear behind. That's the best bounty Xtreme can get out of that situation. And Tundra can probably go back to it.
Grabe, yun lang katapat ng time zone. Nagamit, walang nangyari.
Gags on the Jakiro, so that spell is something Tundra can
Wala.
think about.
Isang
DY was
disperser
part
lang.
on this
Wala
game.
na.
A time zone
Bye,
is
have a
dead
great
as well.
time.
Tundra just hang around here and go high ground again when this next LD ult is up. You're looking at only 40 seconds here for another true form.
No macro pyre, no time zone,
Yeah, I think
no
you force it.
shift.
I don't think you're scared of too much.
And I think Xtreme know that if that push comes, they just have to play for one final lane of barracks.
This BKB on XM, it's so close and at the same time so far away. You might
Basag,
sell
basag.
or something for it if this push comes and they feel like they want to fight it. Or just give up another lane here. Time zone used once this game and you got a bear
Nice.
out of it. Not fast enough for what Tundra have presented in this game one.
Tagal ng BKB.
However, BKB done for the SF. And Ames is about 500 away. We'll go to the other side of the map to try and farm it.
I mean, if Tundra really wanted to go for it, they could try and hit that third high ground, but Roshan is up. Probably a sneaking suspicion that they're just going to do that.
I wonder if you try and smoke out and contest this as XG. Because it feels like if you give an Aegis to Tundra, they push your last lane. You're pretty sad in that situation.
Wala na to. Hex.
Tundra might not even go for this Roche.
Ah, side of base nga.
Screw it,
Hex
let's
nga.
just go high ground. They have no answers for the Boots of Bearing that's online for the Clockwork. The double disperser, not afraid of time zone right now.
Magic damage. Niyam.
As well.
Nagawin niya.
The push has come. No BKB
Ayan
for
na.
Ame. He's 100 off.
Oh, this attack speed slow is not going to stop.
Ah,
with an AC.
uli.
Shin-Q tries to go in, puts him inside of the shard, and with that macro pyre out, they're able to do something.
No, nahuli!
Oh, it's pitiful. It doesn't do nearly the damage that is required.
Patay ka. GG na kayo. GG na. GG.
All three are going to die as Saksa with one poison cleans up all of them. That is done. Xtreme Gaming.
30 minutes.
They hardly even played this game. 3 kills to their name before they call GG.
That was
Easy
a
game.
very one-sided game in terms of who was controlling the objectives, at least after the first 12 minutes. I don't think that early game was that rough for XG in terms of what those two lineups were trying to do to each other.
Surprise,
But
surprise.
once that mid-game came around, after Pure faced out his Ultra Nemesis in the Tormentor and vanquished his foe, it was just all Tundra from there on out. There's one
Grabe, wala nang ginawa si Ame. Ano ba naman yan?
The last one, and it kills a bear. It's just not fast enough. Not
Lalo lang best nakakita yung time zone. Wala naman namatay.
In this game one.
Diyos ko po.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the greed of the lineup. If you want to be greedy, you gotta step up and perform, and Xtreme certainly did not in this game one.
They did not, and that means they are going to a second game, being 1 game down in this
Bawi.
lower bracket series, which is a very tense series. Winner will continue on to be top 4. I'm joined by Lacoste, Effie, and Tigov, and we ended the panel saying, well, it might be a little bit too greedy, and T, I know you said Tundra's on the clock. They delivered hard.
Yeah, they just autopilot throughout the game, and I gotta say for Xtreme, this is an extremely weak showing. You know, if you're trying to get yourself further throughout the low bracket, maybe to the grand finals tomorrow, you can't be playing like this. Like, XM on the Shadow Theme, he gets a quick Blink Dagger, yet to see a Requiem really connect in the early game. Jin-Q moving around the map, again not connecting. Lycan wasn't really able to make a statement, finish the game 0-1-3, and like Arma in the Void. We never got to see the time zone. Like, the entire early game was, like, just, yeah, it was awful.
For 20 minutes, we
Pangit
don't know
talaga ang
how fast
performance.
it's going to pace us. Jokes aside, you know it's time zone, but we haven't seen it in action. I can see the big combo that they were going for. I think once they saw that Mars and picking up Shadow Fiend, they thought about, okay, we need to flex this SF to the mid lane. They did play 2 times from the safe lane, so they ended up with SF in the mid lane, who doesn't have any kind of setup. As we can see from these clips, somebody needs to go in, and Lycan is definitely not that hero. You need some kind of initiation, some kind of a blink stun, compared to Ramses on side of Tundra, who's been doing one hell of a job with his initiations. They had Clockwork as well to follow it up, and also SD to set things up. We've seen in the previous series as well how effective it is if you have Yule Scepter on Mars, for example, so you can buy a little bit more time, set up your kills, and other than that, Xtreme Gaming, they didn't get to play Dota in this one.
I think that's
As ang disperser lang. Yun na yan.
is a big reason why Xtreme had such a bad showing this game is that Saksa really handled XM. Not only is it not the easiest matchup versus Sniper, but you're depending on your ability to invade his jungle, to take your stacks, to get back into the game, then surprise the Sniper with a tusk gank. Then we had Saksa on the Shadow Demon, rune securing, taking that regen rune, applying extra damage, following him around with the Shadow Poison, getting a solo kill on the enemy SF, making it so that XM is always playing recovery this game. And because your SF is playing recovery, your Tusk isn't comfortable moving with him. And because your Tusk isn't making moves with your SF, there's no other plays around the map because this Lycan was picked to shut down Sniper. It was picked to shapeshift and run its Sniper the same way Aurora did it to Xtreme Gaming yesterday. But it just never happened. We never saw their ultis connect. We never saw their
daming gank na ano,
Ame with
ni
the 200
tagumpay.
IQ play. He's like, you know what? You have these 2 dispersers, you have Bongo Boots as well. You can't counter it if I'm not using this Chrono Square. So, it was a very difficult one. I think they were expecting the big combo, because if you are playing for the Chrono Sphere, you can't use the big Requiem. But, yeah, just didn't happen in this one. Way too slow.
way too slow, and I think here, standout player, Tigov, pure on the lone druid, setting that high pace.
Yeah, setting the high pace, being able to convert on the aggression, and also when they had the net worth, he was so tanky in his true form that when they did throw all the spells, it's like, sure, you might kill a bear, but you're not going to kill the main lone druid, you resummon the bear, and fundamentally, Xtreme had no comeback play because Pure was so farmed. And again, I like the fact that Tundra showcased what you can do like an SD in the clock. We've seen before in previous series, like the double low damage supports, but if you have good positioning, if you can keep people alive, you can reinitiate correctly, then it's all about the cores shining, and yeah, Tundra just nearly flawless game.
Yeah, and a core that's shown definitely very bright, Effie. We have to talk about this because we started the whole panel talking about Sniper and XM versus Thompson, both top-tier snipers. We backed it up with the math, and we said XM is the best sniper. I think Thompson also is making a case for himself once more.
I mean, Thompson has made a case for himself on all of the innovative heroes through the mid lane. He's brought so many heroes into the meta, but you know, he made a statement here that everybody's been praising XM as the best sniper. I've been playing this hero for longer than XM has been playing Dota. Right? He wanted to prove himself here, and he really did. And now that we know that Tundra can first pick the sniper without having to expend a ban on it and beat Xtreme Gaming with it, that makes it so that when they approach XM's hero pool, the snipers and the vipers within the draft, you've already taken one out by picking it yourself.
Yep, easy goings. I also wonder what it was like for Tundra during this game. We saw them being very dominant. They were in the lead the majority of this game. It seemed like everything played out perfectly. Do the comms represent that?
Void stand.
Getting wide.
Chill. We're too far.
Happy yarn.
Fucking god. Thank god we picked SD.
Iba yung save ni Shadow Demon talaga. Kaya soksa.
Easy, Lacan.
Pretty easy. This was pretty much game ended at that point, but you know, getting some good laughs out of how they use their abilities. They did go for this one big Hail Mary play in the end. DY sold all of his items, did go for the item scepter on Jakiro. Disruption setup, they try to go for a Requiem, they miss it. GG, go for the next one.
At that point, it was already looking very rough. I think our commentary team, T, said it as well. At the very end, we saw, you know, they had to go for their play with the time zone, and the only one they caught in the time zone and killed was the bear.
Yeah, no, it was despair at that point in the game, and I think for Xtreme in this break, they just need to fully shake off that previous game and just, I don't know, I've not seen a team play like that in the opposite styles before. Like that was, it didn't feel like they were in a top 6, top 5, top 4 position. It felt like they were in the group stage still. Like I'm hoping they'll be able to shake that one off, because yeah, if they play like that again, then yeah, this could just be another quick series.
It could be. We saw that the Lycan was taken from Aurora, who was already eliminated, and that didn't work out. So maybe not taking strats from teams that are out is the way to go. We saw Tundra taking the strat from Game of Gladiator with the Lone Druid. That played out fantastically. Before we see what Game 2 will bring us, we're first going to see what Slacks is going to bring us in the stage.
Absolutely, Sheever. Welcome, my friends. It's time for a crowd vibe check yet again. What a fantastic series. Hello, everybody. How we doing out there in the crowd? Fantastic. We got the front row peeps right here. Now, I heard a little tale here. Who do you want to win this event? Who did you want starting?
Well, I was hoping for Team Spirit, but they're out. Ame and Yatro had their fight. Ame won, so let's go XG.
Okay, the XG fans. Now they are down a game. They need some energy. Of course, we found some XG fans in the audience. What do you guys have to say, huh? How are these guys going to come back, my friend?
I have to say, this game is exactly the same versus Team Spirit. It's got 1 loss, but 2 wins afterwards.
Ah! Do we agree? All right, now, Xtreme Gaming is back there right now. They can hear you back there, okay? Do you have any words for anyone on the team, sir?
I'm a fan of AME. I like AME for 5 years. I think he always do his best in Dota. He will win next game. As I said, this world, AME will beat Thompson in next 2 games. 小四一定赢
Yeah, boy!
Ano nandihan?
Any chance?
Yeah, I think the first game they lost because they don't have a very good draft. They lost their lane phase. So for the next two games,
draft.
if they can have better draft, I would say they could win.
Seem like you're very knowledgeable. What should they pick? Name one hero that you want to see.
What you say?
One hero. Who should Xtreme Gaming pick?
Sniper!
Sniper! The only sniper fans in the world. Fantastic. All right, do we have any fans of the... one more. All right, these guys are very excited. Hello? Any words out there for Xtreme Gaming?
Yeah, that's me! Woo! Let's go, Xtreme Gaming! Woo!
Hell yeah, that's the energy we're looking for! That's my boy! I believe it now! Okay, fantastic. Any Tundra fans dare to follow that one up? Anybody here want Tundra to win? Oh, okay, we got some power boys over here. What is going on here? You're looking great, man.
No lights on, I like the show, you know. That's the way, you know, airplane.
Yeah, this ain't a rave, dog. You're all right. It's all good. Who are you guys here for?
Gaming.
Yeah!
No, as in gaming. Good Dota.
Oh, gaming Dota. Great save. Nobody noticed. Fantastic. All right, Tundra. You want them to win?
Absolutely. Topsen is the man of the North, and I myself coming from Tromsø, Norway. The North remembers. The North will take it a third time. Topsen, let's go!
I would like to do a PSA that there are other people on the team. But the crowd absolutely does love Topsen 100%. Anybody else, any Tundra fans out there? Ah, the boy. Hello, hello, hello. Any words for our teams?
First of all.
Oh, wow. That really got a tonal shift there. What are we doing? All right, hit it.
Who saw me? Topsen. Let's go, Topsen. Let's go, dude. Let's go, Tundra. Let's go.
You brought us to such a calm place, and then you brought it back up. Hello.
Can I say something?
I mean, I don't think I have much of a choice. You just walked up, so yeah.
Рамзес, возьми шестой мажор.
Okay, great.
Sorry, International.
Soy International. I don't know what we're referencing here, but I know it's some kind of dank meme, so I'll take it, baby. We like that shit. All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, everybody. The crowd seems hyped. We're getting ready for game 2, and we're going to get that thing started real quick. Let's go! What's the plan, baby? Woo!
You cannot top that energy, and I have no idea what was said there at the very end, but we happen to swap someone in that might be able to translate that. Hello, Poppy. Welcome to the panel.
Hey, let's go!
Hi.
Is it PG
Woo!
translation, first of all?
He said take the 6th major, Ramses.
Okay.
I guess he only has 5. I'm not really sure.
Give or take, probably.
Give or take, yeah. I don't know. In the end, he said, like, who cares international, I think, in the end. But
oh, well.
Perhaps
I think Ramses
misunderstood.
would care. I think Ramses would care. How are you doing, Puppy?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah?
Good
Enjoying,
place, right?
yeah. Enjoying the level of Dota that's being played?
So far, yeah.
So far, yeah.
I mean, not last game, but, you know, so far.
What did you not like about last game?
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the things that they say even about how to counter sniper, we're confident. We're going to do the same thing that Aurora did to us, that lost against us. They picked Lycan, you know, so it's like, well, you want to lose. Maybe that's the plan, but at the same time, yeah. I didn't like their plan. Sniper doesn't really care about Lycan.
Ba't tinalo nga ng Xtreme Gaming kahapon ng Aurora?
Especially, which is the funny thing, time zone.
Hindi makapag-rat yung ano.
You know, the idea about killing Sniper with a Faceless Void was putting him in place and finishing him there in that same spot. That guy can now run away from time zone with a grenade and then Hurricane Pike out. What is a time zone against the Sniper? I don't even get it. Nothing works in their draft against Sniper.
How would you counter Sniper now? Because this seems
Chrono.
to be the pick that everybody's trying to figure out how to deal with this menace.
In my opinion, it's old school regular jumps. Like, in my opinion, if I'd be Xtreme Gaming and I'm in this position where I'm going to lose TI if I don't do something very basic and normal where we can understand and play Dota and kind of vibe it out normally, just pick Rubik Centaur, get on the lanes. If we see Sniper, we go for Sniper and we kill Sniper. Instead of being like, okay, you're going to have to start going behind them to Wolves, and then you perhaps get that thing going or whatever. It's too many mistakes that can happen. Centaur, jump in, kill, okay, good. You know, it's not like Sniper can attack back. So just at least go with that plan.
Seems like a simple
Very
plan to
basic.
go for. Another simple plan when it comes to Sniper is just ban it, Effie. That might be one of the things that they'll end up going for, although there is a lot to ban.
I mean, they've shown that they can first pick Sniper against XM and beat him with it. They don't need to ban it, and I'm sure they have their own ideas. I like what Peppy said about just get on Sniper with some simple gap close and a stun and kill him. We saw earlier in the Falcon series how effective they were with their Blink DK, with their follow-up from Hoodwink and Mirana. Maybe follow a similar recipe in this game too.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. We're heading into to game number 2, Puppy, here, as there's a lot of pressure. Do you think that the players, like you've been in a situation like that as well, do you think that the players will let that pressure get to them or not? Because most of these players are extremely experienced when it comes to main stage games.
Like Xtreme games?
Apart from XM, yes.
Well, in my opinion, anything can happen. It all depends on their vibes. Do they actually believe that they can beat Tundra? It kind of comes down to that, let's say. Because I think Tundra has a gajillion strats. They play a lot of things. I think Pure plays a lot of heroes. He's always been kind of like a connoisseur of Dota. I will play Doom carry, Leshrac carry, depending on what carry I want to carry. Pudge. So they have their own, they have Thompson too. Like, come on, they have a lot of probably ideas. They will choose one of them and go with it. But Xtreme Gaming, they also have shown some kind of interesting things. They brought in the Blinks carry back in the day, or maybe even right now. Maybe they should do something similar like that, because the Spaceless Void seemed very passive. And I don't want to see passive. I want some Xtreme Gaming action going on.
Yeah, we saw a very high tempo set here in the first game of the series, because I would imagine that that's something that for Xtreme is something that they are gonna adjust.
Oh, most definitely. When they lost to Team Liquid in the upper bracket quarterfinals, they kind of lost the same way, and they learned a lot. Then they played against Team Spirit, eliminated from the TI. Then they played against Aurora, played super fast Dota in that one as well, and now they stop. Overcooked. They needed something. They needed some Blink Initiator from the off lane to keep them in place. And it was also super greedy. I think also when it took the wrong turn in terms of Wrath was when they banned this Dark Willow instead of Mars, because Ramses, this is one of his best heroes right now. And I think you want to put him in a position where he doesn't feel as comfortable.
Agreed for sure, because Ramses, while he has excelled so much this year and improved as an offlane player, he still has a very limited hero pool. And often you'll see teams that go up against Tundra target ban that hero pool, which, you know, in the past it was Darkseer and Mars. Darkseer gets nerfed, now it's Mars, Sand King, sometimes Centaur. We did see a surprise Night Stalker one time, so that has to be in the back of your mind if you're setting up for a Puck or a Storm, but simplify it for yourself by making Tundra's offlane pool smaller.
Simplify it for yourself. Should be doable in the draft. But speaking of that draft, let's get it on your screens.
Tundra Esports versus Xtreme Gaming. Game 2.
For the second game, Xtreme will be on the Radiant side, and it is Tundra that is dire with first pick, meaning Xtreme gets the overall last pick. In terms of bans, Xtreme did make it easy for themselves. They did simplify things by simply removing Sniper from the pool. They also do the same to the Naga Siren, the Invoker, and the Mirana. Tundra has banned out the Tinker, also the Tusk, meaning they don't want to first pick it themselves. Meaning also we have some usual suspects still left in the pool. I think the one that comes to mind, Puppy, Sand King. How have you been enjoying seeing Sand King in so many of the games, dominating most of the time?
Yeah, Sand King is a hero that I said is probably the best hero in the game, because the hero has 6 spells, okay, now 5, but it used to have kind of 6, I felt like, at least when the facets and the innates got added into the game. And it's one of the only heroes that still has 5 spells. I would say so, because the Caustic Finale is very important, and the Stinger is basically an added spell. This hero has 5 spells. Others have 4, but some of them have 5, but they're not as strong as Sand King's right now. So basically, best hero in Dota right now.
The other hero that is going to counter him also has 5 spell with the Mischief on Monkey King, so they're up to something.
That is not comparable. Mischief and
True,
Toxic,
true.
You know, what are you going to do with that on lane? Sometimes it works out pretty well, but yeah.
50-50. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's what Dota is about. But I do like Monkey as a response to Sanking, because you can follow this hero wherever he goes. We've seen mid-Sankings having much stronger presence in the game compared to the off-lane Sanking. The biggest flaw for the Sanking always was his laning stage, and now having these extra abilities in the lane makes his lane so much better, and also the passives. So you have Sandstorm, and you can follow, which does follow you, so you can roam around, still get stuff done, even if you don't feel like you need to be in the lane.
Yeah, I will say though, for the Monkey King flex, following the Sand King flex, it's looked a lot more impressive on the mid lane from Monkey King. We saw yesterday in the Liquid versus C9 series that they laned the Monkey King on Watson versus 33 on the Sand King, and the Monkey King did not shut down SK's farm. SK was still farming, because if you pair up this hero with a strong laning support like a Snapfire, you're not too concerned by the Monkey King.
Not at all, as we're in the second ban phase. We already have Visage removed, and then Tundra took a little bit of time now to think about what other hero they want to remove. It will be Xtreme picking out of ban phase, and with the Visage ban, probably aiming to remove some potential offlaners from the pool. Any heroes that come to mind that we don't want to see if you're Tundra? What could they be discussing, you think, Puppy?
I think the meta still revolves around heroes like Omni Knight.
Yeah.
Because Shadow Demon's out, and Omni Knight I think is still quite broken of a hero. Perhaps Tundra is just going to pick it, because Sanking's such a weird hero. I think if you pair him with Oracle or Omni Knight, that hero just becomes insane. You can't even kill that thing. It's already pretty hard to kill it, but if it plays in such aggression that you can't deal
first
with it.
pick
For
kay
Tundra,
Amin na
it's
yan.
Omni Knight. For Xtreme Gaming, it's thinking Omni Knight needs to be
Go
banned.
to your
Omni
ano,
pick right now.
best pick.
Basically, I'm kind of like vibing on towards that idea.
Pag facing elimination.
Yeah, it turns out that the Centaur is
Wind
for now taken
Ranger.
out, but Xtreme still as well taking that time. The saving supports the Omni Knight. We saw that ignored in the previous game, mostly because the Tusk and the Shadow Demon both made it through. This time around, not the case, as Wind Ranger is banned for now, and the next pick is Xtreme's Lacoste.
There are still Mars available in the pool. I always say whenever we talk about XXS that he's one of the best Mars players when it comes down to being clutch, his blink initiation, something that we didn't see in the previous game, which they were kind of lacking. So would love to see a little bit of adaptation when it comes down to the offlane for Xtreme Gaming.
Yeah, Xtreme Gaming have done some Zoo heroes from XXS. They've done Enigma before, they've done Visage, and that's when they usually put Zinkyu on his signature Mercy. I think that's why they're valuing this Jakiro so much in this draft, even though the hero itself doesn't feel that strong or that overwhelming, but they want that flexibility in their opener so that if they want to later pick their offlane hero, they can just dump this Jakiro on the safe lane with Monkey King.
Yeah. We had a very strong Lone Druid showing in that previous game. Is Lone Druid, was it only good because it was like last pick coming out for Tundra, Puppy, or is that a hero that you feel like should be on the radar?
It's a free lane against Lycan. It's a really free lane. Yeah, so Lone Druid was going to get fat, and Lone Druid's kind of in a meta, which, you know, the Gleipnir is still very strong. They just needed a hero to kill towers. They wanted to push. They knew that the enemy was playing very slowly. Lone Druid puts pressure on them. I'm not sure if they need to think about Lone Druid right now because all they see is Monkey King Jakiro. If the fight comes back to them right now, if their draft isn't that passive, Lone Druid probably won't work out that well.
Fair enough. How do you feel about the support duo that Tundra has secured for themselves right now?
Well, to me right now, that looks like Saksa might be playing Enchantress again. Because somebody needs to go to Sanking's lane if the Sanking doesn't go mid. And I'm not sure if they're going to lane Sanking with Clockwork together. They might, but then there might be some issues there against Jakiro Monkey King where they start kind of diving on the Sanking. Maybe they can do tree cutting, oh sorry, not creep cutting, not tree cutting. But Saksa has been pretty good with cutting the creeps with 33. They've always strategized stuff, but we'll see.
So they pick the Nyx here to counter Enchantress. A lot of teams think that this hero counters Enchantress because of the way the new Warp Flare works, where you just insta-kill her creeps, but the issue with Enchantress drafts are often they will hit this timing where they 5-man with an aura from their offlane, and Nyx does not like playing into 5-man drafts. So the question of Nyx is, how much can you get done from that early game? How much can you shut down Enchantress and make this pick useful? How early can you get your level 6 and play off of your mid laner? Because if Nyx has a hard time in the early game, it's hard to come back versus a draft like this.
What about the lane, Puppy, for this one? Lone Druid, they know it's going to be laning against Underlord. Is that also as a 3 of the lane as they had in the game 1?
I mean, it's Clockwork Lone Druid against Nyx Assassin Underlord. I'm pretty sure that's a bad lane for Underlord. And I'm feeling like Xtreme Gaming are shooting themselves in the foot by just picking a lane, making it obvious. Unless this Underlord goes carry, I'm not really sure what's going to happen. No, it actually does work. It does work.
With the cleave facet?
Yes, it's actually good. They could put Monkey mid, you know. They have still 24 picks, so they have the leverage on finding out something like that. For now, Tundra seems like they have a more stable way of playing the game. And Nyx Assassin is going to lose his lane if they can find a way to not lose the lane, but come on, it's going to be so hard. You don't want to do this.
And the scary thing about putting Monkey King mid, like you mentioned could happen, is that when you're playing against Enchantress as a Monkey King mid, she rotates on you with her creep, they dive you on your tower, you get your Jingle Slaps up, then boom, you're enchanted, it's dispelled, you have no means of fighting back in that situation.
Scary times for Xtreme Gaming ahead as we are in the second or the last ban phase rather. We got Nature's Prophet removed on the side of Xtreme Gaming, and it is Tundra that is still removing mid laners, assuming that Monkey King has been forced to the safe lane.
I think that's the best place you could put it right now. I think if you were to put it mid, like I mentioned, there's a lot of threats from rotations coming out, not just from Enchantress, but the Clockwork. If you can just get some XM hero to play tempo, maybe you can rotate early on, try to counter some of the aggression coming out of this Lone Druid early timing. Because like we saw last game, when XM doesn't have a game, Xtreme Gaming don't feel comfortable making moves. The second their SF was playing recovery, they did not operate through any other core
damage
And they do have much better tower defense when it comes down to them parking heroes in front of the tower. With this Underlord, they have a little bit of extra global presence. So Nyx Assassin, he goes on a hero, he finds the target Underlord with his ulti, so you can bring extra heroes, Monkey King. As well, a hero who can jump from the trees, he can pretty much be anywhere. So Nyx Assassin, they did go for this like scouting tool in the previous game, which Lycan didn't work out. Now you're going to have Nyx Assassin, Monkey King setting things up.
Ay, binanampak!
Underlord gate play, so.
They might have good tower push to, you know, to decline it and stuff like that, but they can dive them. They can dive them with Ench. They can dive them with Clockwork. They can dive them with a Lone Druid Bear. Like, it's not like you can sit underneath the tower and feel happy.
You know what XM did play yesterday that looked really good, that he busted out on 24? It was his Queen of Pain. He completely popped off on that hero. I wouldn't mind seeing that here, because they need some explosive damage coming out in that early game so they can get these kills. You're not threatened by the Enchantress tower dives or the Clock tower dives in the mid lane. If they don't pick it here, I'll be very surprised.
Queen of Pain. You are completely right. I would want them to pick Queen of Pain here.
Let's see if Tundra can pick something to dissuade them from that. That Sand King could still go either on the mid lane or on the off lane. Both Ramses and Thompson play it. So they might want to pick something against it. And that, if, correct me if I'm wrong, would be either Thompson Rubik.
That's mid Rubik for sure. One of the worst matchups in Dota, I would say, is Underlord against Rubik. You're giving him 2 spells with the spell amplification, with his cast range, he becomes a better Rubik. Let's say you're sitting in Cog's Sandstorm, Sanking Stun with the Firestorm on top of it. These heroes are going to disappear.
But it's risky, right? Because you put yourself on an even bigger timer, because your Rubik, later on in the game, he's going to get caught up by the Nyx. Once Monkey King gets on a BKB, jumps him with the +1 from XM, there's no saves on the side of Tundra. Their supports and Ancient Clock can't do much by means of counterplay. So Tundra has to be aggressive, and not ever be on the back foot in this game.
Although Rubik does have magic resistance. And Nyx does deal a lot of magical damage only, besides the right click, the ultimate.
Viper.
And they'll go for the XM Viper in the end. It is one of his signatures. It's not that Queen of Pain that we talked about. This Viper, how do we feel it fits in, Poppy? Are you happy to see this hero pop up?
No.
No.
But what you gonna do? You gotta fight green with green. You know, you pick Rubik, you answer with Viper.
I think the cool thing about Viper is that you're not really giving away many spells to this Rubik mid, like simplifying the mid lane matchup. Also, in that game I mentioned, ESL Malaysia earlier this year, they did beat Lone Druid with the Viper mid. I mean, Belly Flop got nerfed, so it's not as effective as a tool versus it, but at least they're going to have this very reliable mid laner that isn't going to be playing recovery the way he was when he was SF.
Yeah, so they counterpick the mid lane, which is going to be a tough one for Rubik. In terms of spell steals, there are some really nice spells to steal throughout the whole game, but I like what Xtreme Gaming cooked. It's a draft that can fight much earlier compared to the previous one. They're not so much cooldown dependent as well, and I see a lot of damage on their side. If they're able to execute with the Xingqiu Nyx Assassin, Viper is a slower hero from the mid lane. We don't see him, rotate as much as other mid laners, but I think we're going to go...
Game 3.
Are you agreeing with that one, Puppy? Are we going to a third game?
I'm not sure, but my heart says Ame, but, Tundra, in my opinion, is going to win this game.
Okay, we're going to find out what's going to happen in the second game of the series. Will it be a final one? Will it be another 2-0? Or will we head to a third game? We'll find out, but first, some words from the coach.
Thank you very much. I'm joined by Moon Meander of Tundra, where you are in the midst of a lower bracket run right now. But Tundra lower bracket runs this year have been kind of stressful. In Birmingham, you guys got knocked from upper, immediately lost again in lower. Riyadh, you guys got one win in lowers after getting knocked, but still, the journey ended quick. So I'm wondering, have those past experiences taught you anything for this TI run now?
Yes, it taught me that you cannot be stubborn in the draft. You're going to understand why you lost, and you just got to pick the meta sometimes.
Rubik mid is the meta? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
Only if you're Thompson.
Only if you're Thompson.
Which means that in response, Viper mid must be the meta if you're XM, right? So you guys saw that one coming?
Yeah, but XM didn't win 2 TIs.
Oh! Oh my God!
Let's see if he can manage to make it happen here. Or if the journey will continue. Moon, let's see how this game number 2 plays out with our casters.
Man.
That's right, the two-time Thompson touch. He's got it. He's going to be playing mid Rubik in this matchup against Xtreme Gaming. But we need to talk about Xtreme, Avery, because that first game, man, that was disappointing.
It did not work out for them at all. They, I think, just didn't understand how fast that game was going to go for them. And maybe they were trying to make a lot of these small plays around the map, but the heroes just weren't that conducive to it. The laning phase was okay for them. This is a team that's okay playing from behind out of the lanes, but you can only get away with that so much in a top 6 of a tournament which is featuring almost entirely European teams, right? These teams play very fast, they own the lanes, they come out blazing, and then they have heroes that convert into objectives very quickly. It is a very similar lineup here for Tundra. They have a lot of team fight, a lot of ball potential, some sustain, and another lone druid that could just get absolutely out of control. The one difference here for XG is they clearly went back to trying to win the lanes a bit more or have stronger cores that can stand there for longer. I think that will work out better for them. But they also have some liabilities like a Nyx who, what is he doing versus a lone druid clock? Dying nothing. That's a big question mark for me, right? Like you pick this Nyx to interact with Ench. He's not even laning against the Ench. However, this has been a hero Xingqiu has gone to, and like we saw Kuala Lumpur this year, they were very far behind in that Nyx game and managed to find some clutch pickoffs to claw their way back.
Now, they had an interesting discussion on the panel about defending towers versus the ability of Tundra to just kind of push through that and just kind of dive you underneath those towers. They've got some pretty good heroes to be able to do so. Do you think that Xtreme are going to be more capable in this game than being able to, defend some of their outer towers and tier 2s, prevent some of this snowball going to Tundra? Or are we going to be looking at another split push game where there's a Monkey King on one side of the map and a Nyx Assassin on the other?
I mean, I hope that's not what it comes to, because I don't know if XG are going to fare too much better in that regard. I think they have a much faster carry. That's the biggest difference, right?
Yes.
Ame had a very rough game last game. He had about 2,500 hero damage in that entire match. Oof. That might be one of the lowest in TI history. So I expect him to be mad here and come out and say, you know what? I'm not going to have a repeat of that. I'm going to deal some hero damage. I'm going to kill some heroes. And one of the best ways to defend your towers is if you just take the offensive potential to your enemy. Start going on them, killing them around the map. If you don't let Tundra group up because they never have all 5 heroes alive, you don't have to worry about defending those towers as well. if it comes to it, hit Tundra group and push your tower, you have some outspam, but I agree, the dive potential's there. And I mean, this hero's just, he's disrespectful. There's no other way. He's a dishonest hero. He's dirty. There's a reason all these dirty, dishonest European teams are spamming him, you know? Like, this hero just ignores a lot of the basic mechanics of Dota. If he wants to push your tower, if he wants to dive you, and he has double summon up, he's going to do it, and he's probably going to get away with it unless you bring everybody.
XM challenging Thompson here for dominance in the mid lane. Doesn't really care about the Fade Bolt. He just keeps on playing on Thompson's side of the river here, trying to keep him off of any of these creeps.
Yeah, ideally you zone him. Like, if you can get a zone a couple waves in between that, like, level 4 to 6 before the Rubik can maybe make a rotation or get out of that lane, it should be Viper favored here. XM will absolutely free farm this lane. Just a matter of how much punish he gets on this Rubik. And again, like the panel said, there's no spells to really steal from the Viper in the early game. But man, when you look at the rest of this lineup, I mean, there's a reason Thompson asked for this mid Rubik. Nyx spells, Underlord spells, Jakiro spells, even the Tree Dance are all so nice as this game goes later. And if you ever get to that Ags, some other items on top of that, like an Octarine or whatever, we have seen Thompson absolutely pop off on this hero.
Yeah, you combine a dominant laning phase for the Viper, who's currently sitting 16-7, so very good start. Do you think we're going to see support rotations into that mid lane as well to try and keep him down even further?
You can rotate this Enchantress.
1, 2,
you have very good early game presence on the supports for Tundra. But it's kind of a scary hero to rotate into because XG can TP their own supports in and they have a lot of turnaround potential.
Clever use of the enchant there to dispel off the Jingu. But Ame gets it anyway off the Boundless Strike and will be able to get some lifesteal, pump up his HP a bit more.
To me, the big question this laning phase is what happens on this top lane. Like, how much does this Lone Druid get to punish this double melee lane? And can XG fight back?
Well, right now, it looks like the double melees are trying to punish Whitemon for going for that Cogs to get some damage on him and are able to kind of fight through. But yeah, the Lone Druid is still in prime position, 23-8.
That's scary. Like, this hero with a good laning phase is just in a world of his own. I would really like if XG try and put some pressure onto the Lone Druid, at least a little bit, before he just completely gears up into the Gleipnir. Like, if you can snag 1 or 2 kills on Pure here, you're going to feel a lot better as this game progresses. And you have heroes that can do it. Like, Monkey King can rotate into this Lone Druid, catch him from the tree line, stun him before the true form goes off. Nyx can do something similar later on with the Vendetta. You have some cool ideas here on how to start on this hero, but a lot of it is dependent on that first 1 or 2 kills are the most important here to snag at some point in this game for XG.
Yeah, I feel like the laning phase interaction mechanics are important, but I almost feel like, especially watching a lot of these Western European teams, that it's who uses the gate more effectively in that, you know, post 5 to 10 minutes area. You know, what carries are going through the gates, what supports are able to go through and successfully gank. Here, though, no rotations required, perhaps, as XXS finds himself isolated underneath his battery cell, takes a lot of damage for it. Shin-Q trying to run interference, also takes a healthy amount of damage before hitting the impale.
I mean, they're fighting back on this lane. It's not going too bad for XG, and this is maybe a more stable laning phase than they had in that game 1. The Viper's going to continue to power up. The Monkey should be okay on this bottom lane as he is getting harassed, and Enchantress is annoying for your Jingu stack.
Underlord!
Kills to this Lone Druid.
Dalawa, double kill.
Barely manages to get the clean to get the kill on Whitemon before he in turn falls to Pure. So it is a support for core trade-off, but at least that core was able to get some experience for the kill.
Throw a little puppy paws on top, no problem.
Yeah. Paying homage to one of the greats, as the 6-minute Lotus is going to be coming in quite soon.
We do see that the CS differential on mid start to open up. So these trades happening top, I mean, you just have to battle through them if you're XG, but you're trying to win the other 2 lanes, right? This is your sacrificial lane to a degree. You want a strong Viper, a strong Monkey King here. And if this Rubik continues to suffer in this mid lane matchup, like, this is a hero that does not like getting his XP sapped or being forced off of waves, right? You really want a fast 6, you want a fast boots, you want to be able to move around the map, get involved in the early fights. This Viper, if he just sits mid and if Rubik rotates, you match him with a TP of that lane. I can see XM feeling very comfortable in this game, and this is one of his signature heroes for sure. We talked a lot about the sniper in game 1, but this is a hero that XG have just won tournaments with. Jin-Q will walk off what has been a tough lane to get through, but they are clawing their way through it here.
Speaking of this Viper, I mean, it's all well and good picking this hero to win the laning phase, but we've seen through various metas, in fact, this patch as well, the Viper has been picked up, and while it may do well in the laning phase, it hasn't managed to win the game. So what is this Viper going to be doing for Xtreme Gaming going into the mid game?
I think they as a team play around these turret heroes better than a lot of other teams.
Okay.
They know how to move the hero around the map, take proper fights with him, so that's the biggest thing, right? But this Viper moves, you need to get a lot out of it. And if he doesn't move, ideally you abuse his laning advantage, either rotating and snowballing the hero, I'd say that's how someone like Gaiman would play with it, or you're confident in the scale, you have things to back him up and you're just confident in the core matchups.
7-minute Wisdom Rune, it's about to spawn soon, and the pressure is amping up in the offlane, where XXS is getting dove by an Enchantress Clockwork. They turn around though, and they're killing the bear. That straight up is going to be a 300
easy
gold for
300.
XXS and defended tower, but the Wisdom Rune still needs defended. Saksa, he tried to make a play for it, but he sees double support and finds that it is not a Wisdom Rune he should be worrying about. It's his own life, stuck in a corner, and killed.
Oy, nakuha!
You get the steal though, Whitemon.
Ame gets the steal on the other side of the map though, so it's still even. Whitemon commits for it underneath the tier 2. The creep wave is coming in though. He takes a couple of tower shots and now slows down by Jin-Q and
Dumay pa naman yan. Why you dive?
To go for that dive.
Almost a catastrophe for Tundra on that rune fight. If they don't get that Wisdom Rune, I think they are basically walking away with nothing there. Lose a bear, lose 2 supports, especially early fighting supports like Enchantress Clockwork. This is not the support duo you want losing in these open exchanges to what some would argue is a little greedier with this Nyx being there. That is a lot of net worth and experience going to Jin-Q off this laning phase. He is very happy with what has happened in this top lane. We did see the dive potential, but that bear was just too low HP in this Underlord. Not an easy hero to dive this early in the game.
Anong bibuild ni Ame? Butter Fury?
Did pick it up, right? It's going to be one of the best heroes to deal with that kind of extension by Tundra. Managed to hit that.
Oy, dalawa huli.
The Enchantress, the poison burst. It looks like it's combating against the Wiz, and it's just not going to be quite enough damage. Turns around the Viper, it makes him so much easier for Whitemon to kill with that magic damage. Jin-Q up next, perhaps.
Ayan na si Pure.
Look at him, looking
Ayan na
around
si
from the side. Is
Pure.
To help get this kill, they are not afraid to move their carry around, and he provides just
Atay,
the
mid.
extra bit of damage.
Convert sa mid agad.
And straight to the mid-tier 1 tower pressure.
DY trying to clean up this Enchantress. Very close, he'll snag him. Big pickup for him on this Jakiro, almost pushes him to level 6. But that tier 1 tower is absolutely gone. It's a very similar game. You misplay versus a lone Druid lineup, you're going to lose objectives. And that is just an open area fight that does not favor XG. That's where the Clock and the Enchantress just thrive. You're going to get punished every time, and some nice spell play from Thompson to turn the Viper against himself. I mean, that is the one spell you would want this game, this Viper Strike. It's going to be absolutely nasty against some of the cores here on XG's side.
Yeah. Viper really cannot afford to give that up too often. Jin-Q TP down to this bottom lane, but Ame backed away at the same time, so.
It's going Battle Fury?
What?
Okay. This is greedy. Like we saw last game, we didn't see a time zone for a lot of time. That Void buildup was slow. Battle Fury Monkey can also be very slow if you get it on an off timing or you don't have a free game or you don't also join the fight.
Again,
you're looking at a lineup from Tundra. They're gonna be pushing you. They're not going to give you time to just AFK farm the jungle as much as you might want to in this game. This will pay off over the ultra long term. But you run into similar issues as game 1.
They already failed to defend 1 tower, but perhaps a second one can be defended here. As a Viper Strike catches Ramses, it's his aggression will get him killed. Back through the gate they go.
Huli kayo! Huli kayo!
Whitemon throws out the cogs on these heroes, but they don't actually have the numbers.
Walang damage.
That Xtreme Gaming overwhelmed Tundra. Kill the support,
Patay.
take down the bear, go after the hero as well. Pure, he draws a new bear out of
Huli
the
ka.
ground. Ame, he gets a couple of Jingo hits in his supports though. Can't get there in time to be able to provide the disabled.
Carapace! Ay, sayang!
Can't live. Meanwhile, Ame gets turned around on by Pure, who pops his ultimate and his bear.
Stun. Burrow strike.
The Monkey King, it'll do the same to the Underlord.
Pure is so strong in this early game. Diffusal already up. Spark of Courage going to work.
10-minute diffusal.
They both will activate here as they get low, and XG just overextends. Super nice gate movements. They do get the Rubik pickup, and the Viper stays alive. So that little
10-minute diffusal
going down again. His game is very rough at this point. But would you sacrifice a little Rubik net worth here to boost the Lone Druid into this position? I think you would.
Yeah, I mean, the Lone Druid is the entire key to your lineup, right?
Yes, he is the fulcrum. He is the hero you're going to fight around and try and snowball this game off of.
Push bottom.
It's a 3-0-3 start for Pure.
Free food.
Jakiro. Very strong right now, almost level 10.
And he's going to take even more. As he comes through the gate,
Ule.
take that safe lane tower. Maybe take DY's head with it. Soxa tries to slow him down with a blood grenade. Finally catch up long enough for the diffuser blade to get it active.
Nice.
That's enough.
Thompson will get a level 2 dual breath for his troubles. Also pocketing an arcane rune right now. So he's poor, but he has some spell power to play with and can easily join these fights. He's going to get a bunch of gold off the objectives as well. So as Pure opens up this map, it'll help him recover.
No BKB Deso.
Going for early Roshan this game if you are Tundra. Enchantress can help boost it up. Got some Skelly Boys for some extra damage. XG continuing to look for trades, very similar to game 1.
Deso,
They have some
Maelstrom.
gate potential like we saw there. I like the idea of just making these fast moves with everybody outnumbering Tundra. If they had snagged that lone Druid kill, this game might have just swung completely in their favor, but
Ule.
another quick find from Jin-Q. I mean, he's having a great game here on this Nyx, all things considered. He's level 7, Urn already up, going Vessel on the Nyx to try and deal with the lone Druid heal. Try and push through maybe the Sand King Bloodstone a little later on.
And that Bloodstone is going to be happening at this rate because Ramses, we haven't talked about him hardly at all, but he's just having one of those quiet farming games for the Sand King, which he does do, right? We saw from like 33 Sand King, for example, just hoovers up all these neutral creeps, collects all this gold, all of a sudden comes out, and he's just a team fighting menace. He's got 6K net worth right now, well ahead of anybody else on Xtreme.
It'll be first item hype for him. So he's going the team item
Ule.
over the greedier option.
Hookshot lands, Thompson.
Ay, back.
From XXS, gets him away, manages to steal that gate. Can Thompson do anything with this, though?
A very interesting spell to have.
An opportunity to meet Xtreme's movements, perhaps? A way to be able to outmove
action. I do like the pace XG are bringing here compared to game 1.
Yes.
They're making a lot more moves. The moves are working for them. They're combining a lot more heroes very quickly. You can see the idea. They just don't want to get outmatched in that department again.
I mean, they've already tripled up the number of kills they got in game 1. So
yeah, I think Alme's tripled his hero damage too. So
Tagal pa
things are
nito.
working out a bit better
Oh,
here.
3 minutes
Thunderlord
pa yung
is gonna be a
Battle
menace in the
Fury
early
dyan.
fights. Like he's going to have a fast pipe himself. That is a really big item for XG to rally behind. You know, Viper. You put this Viper in the front of the fight, you throw some ores behind him, if you add a little bit of sustain, sometimes he can just stand in the front line, burst the Sand King, burst the Rubik, and be really annoying with that corrosive haze and the corrosive skin going to work. So I can see this ball coming together for XG, but this is a very pivotal next 5 or 10 minutes here. Cannot start to bleed kills and objectives, and you really need to get Ame past this kind of mid-game point of, okay, he's closing in on the Battle Fury, but how much time are Tundra going to give him to use that Battle Fury before this game heats up? Because you are still looking at a very farmed lone Druid.
yeah, he is over 2K ahead of the Monkey King.
Oh,
and
Maelstrom.
he's got a Sand King with a pipe complete. So the Bear does a lot of damage. It's got some catch thanks to the Diffuser Blade inhibit. Potentially the root as well. And you're not going to turn around and kill it, not with the extra magic resistance the pipe's going to be able to provide. So add in even more free power runes for Thompson everywhere he goes because Xtreme Gaming refused to play the middle part of the map. They've conceded that area time and time again and will just
Ule,
play
hey!
Jin-Q. Whitemon.
Want the Thunderlord up top. XXS will try and vacate the area. Do you gate on him here?
Yan na.
Question.
Stolen spell still available for Thompson. They'll TP back. Tundra, I assume, are playing this part of the map for Roshan, right? Like, we want to take these off-lane towers, but also Roshan on the table, you said, was
Oh, he's going to
Towers
gate
down.
Ame bottom, maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Arrow Strike hits him, and here comes
Nice,
the
ayan
Ame
na.
was not expecting
Up.
what to do about this one. Hits the trickery, but he knows
Nice.
run the magic damage of Thompson. It's easily going to overwhelm him. Finally, the gate is put to use here, and Tundra back through it to the other side of the map.
Very
Grabe.
efficient move. Thompson was pinging that
Rotate
one out.
ulit.
Just an easy setup here from Ramses. He'll even go through the gate, so Tundra bringing 5 heroes back this triangle, and XG smoking straight into them here without the
Ule,
Monkey King.
ayan na.
Fighting without the monkey is a bold
Ule,
move.
wala kayong Monkey King dyan. Bus
A
kayo.
beautiful hit that does no damage though.
Pipe, yung pipe.
Shuts off most of it. Stuck
buhay
inside the
pa.
macro fire for so long. He almost dies. Still though, the fight is good for Tundra.
Nice
They
stun.
keep chasing after heroes. DY's gonna be
Oh
stunned
my
up long
God.
enough for the rest to follow it up. The Bear does not quite die. So
Buhay
both
pa.
Ramses and the Bear get low. Nobody actually falls. Tundra picking up a 5K net worth lead now.
3,200 damage done by XG, and they kill nothing there. Just all gets pumped into this Sand King pipe, and the sustain. The bear took a lot of it as well, but Pure able to TP it out in time. Even 6 poison stacks did not bring it down. Once more, XG just lack the damage here.
Uli.
Now Blink is up for Ramsey, so you have more initiation power, more dive potential.
Stolen fire.
Oh my god.
Topson,
what are you doing? Topson.
Overwhelming advantage that Tundra are bringing to every single fight. Xtreme, you specifically said this is the time where they need to make sure they do not bleed out in kills and towers. That's exactly what Tundra is doing.
They're finding the openings.
Ngayon pala magpa-farm yung Monkey King.
In their favor. They just have such a commanding pace with the start that Pure's had. The Gleipnir's already done on him. And Solar Crest flying in for Soxa means you can power up this bear even more. They have everything online. This level 4 Firestorm is just the cherry on top for the mid Rubik here. And you just finished your battle, Pure. So on the flip side, while Pure's almost ready to go high ground, Ame's like, gosh,
I'm gonna
I
farm.
need another 20 minutes.
Parang AM lang.
Time to start farming.
My game just began. XG, they need to find a way to make space in this game.
I feel like I've seen this story a few times in this series. DY, Jakiro. Alone somewhere on the map, found.
Aba!
And we'll make Tundra work for it a little bit. They'll have the hook shot. Meanwhile, mid lane, they actually jumped on a Pure. Pure does manage to get off his ultimate, and Ramses came in with the epicenter. It's not an easy kill, but excellent.
Patay, okay, takbo! Takbo! Boy pa! Ay! Rocket!
A 4-step caught him out of the rocket flare. That surely would have been
Oh my god.
That is so close to a terrible death for Ame, but instead he gets to join the fight, pick up some extra gold on top of it. And he does the most damage there with a massive Wukong. Pure, he felt invincible. He felt like this game was too good to lose. And XG, they find the opening they need in this series. Now, all of a sudden, we have ourselves a Dota game because this Monkey is going to get the time he needs.
Tundra immediately try and strike back without 2 of their cores. 2 supports leading the way. Thompson to help out. XM with that vessel on him. He's burning, but they do have supports coming in now. XM helped out by the pipe.
Boy pa! Ay!
No, but he does get his revenge, certainly, from the grave. He spits out back at Tundra and will claim 3 lives for his own.
And Ame's going to get another team fight cleanup here. Says, thank you, XM. The buffet has been set. Jinkyu is
what are you doing, Topson?
We've seen this in a lot of the Knicks games. He just finds these little openings, and it doesn't take much for him to be a huge threat. This vessel
momentum pa, dalawang team fight na naipanalo
big
yun.
team fight frontliners. Another 2,000 gold swing here for XG, and this game is
Let's go game 3, let's go Ame!
The table is set, dinner is served. Ame and Jinkyu are feasting out here. Look at him jump up the net worth, almost catching up to the Sand King now.
And it's so many levels too.
Fights.
I mean, this is another play where, like, this is the strength of Viper. When you go on him and you overextend, and you need that last bit of HP to get through him, it sets the team fight up for the rest of the team. The pipe comes through. It's just too much to get through. Thompson's out of mana. Soxa can heal, but that's a 1-for-3 trade. XG will take that every time. More vessel charges for the Knicks and a lot of experience going their way. You now have a Monkey King who's level 14 versus a Lone Druid who is also level 14. That lead in the carry-count-carry matchup is evaporated by now.
Feels like Tundra got a little bit too used to the net worth lead and the way the momentum was going in this series. Game 1 was such a dominant show from them. And it felt like Game 2 might be a repeat performance, but now they're beginning to get picked off and falling apart. The Nyx Assassin setting up Xtreme Gaming for another successful kill.
An amp damage rune for one of their cores. XM will pick it up. They can start to do some
power
momentum. Jinkyu finds another massive opening in this game. This mid Rubik is starting to get abused. He is falling behind the enemy 4 position and becoming a liability.
Set that trade-off. Would you take an under-farmed Rubik in exchange for an over-farmed Lone Druid? 1 death on Pure has made that strategy from Tundra fall really flat. And bug indeed, Jinkyu playing the Nyx Assassin, perhaps
You're a
the
bug.
MVP for Xtreme Gaming, as he has set them up for so many kills by now and has finally gotten Xtreme Gaming a net worth lead. What feels like the first time in this game. We'll see if they can actually keep that growing, though.
It's a very pivotal moment in this game. If XG can continue to find the momentum, then we could be looking at one of the, is it the first potential Game 3 on this main stage?
Since we got to the main stage, it's just been 2-0s all the way through. Bit disappointing, but maybe we could finally see one. Xtreme, especially Ame, he doesn't want to go out like this, man.
No.
I mean, he has so many second places, third places, fourth places at TI.
Look at this.
2022, he had a 6th place performance.
A 1% lead in Gold XP. They have crawled their way to an advantage somehow.
It seems like it's still slightly favoring. I saw 45-55 to the favor of Tundra. Where do you think that comes from?
I mean, this Lone Druid's still very strong, right? And you're still kind of in his game. Pure has control in terms of where and when the fights happen. If Tundra get a big pick off into Roshan, he can regain a lot of the momentum. And we still have this Sand King, right? This hero has dominated a lot of the games on the main stage. Ramses is still the most farmed hero in the game. In fact, he's going back for the Bloodstone. So he's like, all right, you know, the Blink Pipe push, it didn't pan out completely for us, but we can still scale here. We can still pick up the teamfight slack. He's still going to become a beast. In theory, this Monkey King pick can deal with these heroes in the ultra late. This is why it was prioritized so highly in that first round by XG. It's a hero that can dice up the Sand King even through a lot of his spells, because you just throw the Wukong and you match him.
And he'll be able to ignore a lot of the magic damage coming his way with the BKB as his next item.
Yep. This is going to be a battle of magic resistances in some ways.
Yeah.
So you have this Rubik Lone Druid who can
Wala na,
buff up and
ilan
become
na
very
magic
tanky versus a lot of the
damage
spell
naman.
damage, but on the flip side, you have this Viper who's his own menace. You have a Monkey who's going to have BKB and potentially very strong fight around the Roshan, and you have a Pipe on both sides. Initiations are going to become very key as this game progresses. What can Jin-Q find?
Huli na naman si Topson! What are you doing, Topson?
He throws out that pin. Where's he going? He's not going back. He pushes forward. Kamikaze straight past the tier 2 tower. I guess it helps Jin-Q get away.
Why did
that
he...
was clearly not a play the second Jin-Q started to bail.
Bakit
XXS
sumugod?
did not get the memo.
Walang sumama.
Very awkward. Just as we were praising Xtreme Gaming for having some cleaner executions in this game 2 than they did game 1, they fall right back to game 1's mistakes.
I mean, just type space for Ame because he just finished BKB.
Guess so. See what that space can do for them, though, because, I mean, you said they could do Roshan pretty early. Tundra have yet to be able to find that objective. They're finally going to make the play now, but Xtreme Gaming are going to try and defend it here. They won't have the Underlord Fiend's Gate, but he could TP into the outpost and make a full 5-on-5.
na yan.
Currently, the entire Bloodstone for Ramses is flying out right now, but it's far. If actually take this fight right now, you're missing a huge amount of net worth on this.
Uli, kita kayo lahat.
He's going to be able to get a really good ultimate here. He's on all of them. The corner of the pin. He's going to throw it out. Drops down the Boundary Strike.
Ay! Napeke sila!
The rest of the team is going to have to make a better initiation. But the
Patay! Wow, BKB.
He pops his BKB, but for what? To try and get Thompson, it seems like. He's managed to get his Jingu stacks up, and we'll finish off that pesky Rubik. XXS needs some help. The bear is currently causing problem.
Nice, double impale.
But Ramses is still strong with a Bloodstone. Running around with his Sandstorm.
Boy pa! Hindi pa nagaling yung Aegis.
And now his bear starts going to work. A hit from the Boundary Strike. A push away from the bear. Get back, get back. Shin-Q tries to make a run for it, but the Gleipnir gets him in his hold.
Nice! Nice stun!
Ame, can he make it twice though? In the way XM, he's out of here. A TP
Wala,
on
di
a
makatakaw.
does the same, but
One-on-one.
Ame will be left behind.
Grabe.
Pure. He switched his items onto the main Lone Druid just to get that Gleipnir out. What an insanely heads-up play.
Oh, no way.
But XM, he just lived through that entire fight. The Viper, he stands, he delivers 6,000 damage. They get the Aegis, they get forward, they get a buyback on the Clockwork. An extremely even fight, but one that XG are probably okay with because now you took that second life out of the Lone Druid's hands, and again, you slow the tempo down. Still, what we didn't see at the bottom of that screen was Ame. He went on the bottom tree line. He dropped a Wukong on a Rubik illusion that got baited. Thompson with, I think it's just an illusion rune, did so much work in that fight.
Ay, huli ka na naman, Topson! Ginagawa mo, Topson! Uy, nice hook.
Just bailed him out with a beautiful hook shot at Cogs. They're all grouped up. Thompson is dead, but maybe Ramses with a 3-man burrow.
Huli kayo lahat!
Get as much as you can out of this. It's a grab bag.
These gates, they have been a blessing and they have been a curse for XG.
Huli. Stun.
It's another one that just felt
hero to go. Ramses gets him on the burrow too. All three
May Gleipnir.
through that gate will die for it.
Boom. Sabog.
Tundra strike back with another gift just straight into the heart of their side
Hey,
of the
basag
map.
mid.
And Ame's looking on like, guys, is this the fight we want to take? XG just not respecting the numbers that can come from Tundra around these tier 2s. And now you gave him an opening, you gave him push potential. Pure straight into the high ground. Alpha Wolf here for Soxa for more damage boost.
Grabe naman.
And the Ags is done for the Rubik, so despite Thompson having an extremely rough game here, in fact, he is bottom 3 net worth. This is a support Rubik at this point.
Support Rubik na lang.
They're making this push without
Oh my God, basag!
Xtreme Gaming gonna try and catch the heroes before they can retreat.
That is,
oh, that is a big misclick there from
Grabe, bakit naman?
siege creep.
Kawang siege creep, inultihan ng Viper.
From Tundra, not an end-all be-all given the game state, but another big momentum loss for XG, who felt like they were clawing their way back in this series.
Thompson! Ginagawa mo, Thompson!
Fall back a bit, reboot here as they try and get Ame to his next item.
Some over-aggression and mistakes cost Xtreme what could have been a hold on this game.
Parang support na lang yung mid ngayon.
Grasp, and now Tundra
2
with
spells.
a 5k net worth lead, a range barracks down. They can exploit another maneuver from Xtreme like that.
Bottom naman.
Be looking at another full lane, another second lane. I mean, this tier 2 goes down
Thompson!
in the
Ang ginagawa mo,
Thompson.
How much can you control the objective taking right now? How much can you get these lanes out? And continue to try and find openings with this Nyx Assassin. I think Tundra are done getting picked off. They're just
gem.
For the rest of this game, it might be. Though I don't know if XG want to gate into them anymore. These players have not panned out as much as they did in the early game.
Look at DY. What is this, man? He smokes out to get some wards down, some very deep vision. But are these wards actually going to be helpful to you if it's Tundra just pushing into your base? I mean, they're not leaving Xtreme side of the map right now.
They're great for deep wave cutting and splitting the lanes behind Tundra's front line, dragging them back, because this will see some of the setup on heroes trying to catch Ame or kill the Viper on their side of the map. As long as you can feel like you can defend your base in the meantime,
wala.
Lets you farm it out,
Next
not
Roshan.
lose a net worth deficit.
GG na to, next
See if Tundra feel
Roshan.
pressured to smoke across the map and try and catch the split push, or if they're happy just keeping the game static, looking towards the next Roshan.
That'll be coming in 3.5 minutes time. Meanwhile,
XM going to look towards the BKB on the Viper. That would be the next biggest pickup here for XG. We've seen how much damage he does in the fight. It's crazy when the stacks build up.
0.1 second TP there from Thompson. It's DY to evacuate the area. But that Viper is still out there, still farming away that all-important BKB.
Part of the equation that's been working for XG in the fights has been isolating Thompson at the start, or taking him out. With this Ags on the Rubik, it's that much more important, because you cannot give away Firestorm +1 in a team fight and let him get multiple rounds of these spells off, right? He already has Firestorm, he goes in, let's say he gets Impale or Pit,
One more
or
spell.
Ice Path, something of this nature, and you do not take this
Dagon.
Rubik out of the fight, he will win that team fight
They
for Tundra,
gone.
unless the Bear gets bursted, which Shin-Q, he's got ideas of his own here, going back for the Dagon. He is very farmed on this Nyx, he does a lot of burst damage, but can you catch the Lone Druid before the true form
BKB
comes
na.
out? That's a big piece of the puzzle here. And BKB done for Ramses means he can frontline a lot more confidently now.
Same goes for Pure.
Yep.
BKB na
Double
Pure.
BKB timings, which means Ame is going to have to be the one to step up as the big physical damage dealer. You're going to need better Wukongs than what we've seen so far.
Yari ka, Ame! Yan na,
The
Ame!
danger lurking around him right now.
Yan
His
na, yan
sword
na.
might betray him as he doesn't see
Huli.
any of these smoked heroes, but they don't see him.
Yun.
Oh, it breaks. Thompson.
Yun.
Wait, a flare.
Nahuli, nahuli!
Ame
Kita!
is going to realize what's going on, hopping into the trees. They thought he was maybe on the low ground. So hard to know exactly where a Monkey King is. When the smoke breaks, he could be on any of these trees.
I mean, that is a massive play for both teams. It's a lot of time and a very important smoke wasted for Tundra. They cross the entire map there. Which means Ame goes bottom and the team pushes out mid, takes a high ground position. They're going to look to jump Pure mid. Again, if he does not get his ult off.
They did have vision of Ame making his way to bottom and then back to mid.
They still want this Viper BKB. That's the thing. XM, he's so close.
Yeah.
Don't want to fight without that right now. As Tundra, they have their big fighting items. They have the double BKB plus that.
Antayin pa ba nila ang Roshan? O babasag na to?
They're not really missing anything right now.
Kahit wala pang BKB.
Also keep in mind this Soxa Enchantress, he got to Hurricane Pike and he rolled an Enchanted Quiver. So he is outputting a lot more DPS than he was in those early exchanges. Can be a threat of his own, absolutely. Not a bad hero versus the Viper in the later stages of the fight, honestly. If you just sit there and trade with each other, it's unlikely you get Viper struck broken yourself.
Walang buyback!
Targets for the spell.
Bumili na ng BKB, walang buyback yan.
Looks like that BKB is going to be completed for XM as Tundra do not go for the high ground push.
Wait na lang
Would have been
ng
a bold
Roshan.
move, but perhaps unwise just because we are entering that Roshan spawn period. Last thing you want to do is fail a high ground push and give Xtreme
Waiting sa
free
Roshan,
access to the pit.
Absolutely. This will also wear out that timer on the Stolen Firestorm for Thompson. So XG are going to go into this next fight. This Rubik will have to look for the double spell steal. Little bit of an edge.
Pure calls in some reinforcements for another Tormentor.
Of course, doesn't
We'll
really
get
take
it.
the one-on-one.
Si Thompson. Si Whitemon.
There's also a lot of force stabs on this Tundra side you have to think about.
Yeah, magkakasalubong.
The two supports, and you have a force
Yan,
stab from
yan,
Thompson.
wala.
There's a lot of bailout
Yan
potential.
na.
Getting heroes out of the Wukong.
Yeah, yun, na-break ang smoke. Ay, takbo.
He goes in pretty deep, breaks that smoke.
Huli.
He hopped away for the Bro Strike. Just in time.
Back in.
Now he hops back in with the BKB. Commits that Wukong's command.
Huli pareho, wala si Thompson. Nandiyan. Yo, kakarating lang.
Outside of the Wukong's command, but the bear does die.
Patay, brat yung Enchantress. Oh, boom!
Strike will stop him getting through the gate, and Soxa does the damage. Now XM, he's
Oy, nice. Cancel. Oh, grabe naman si Saksa. Brat, oh.
Tries to go for the kill on Ramsey's, hoping beyond hope that he can get that damage done, but it will not happen. DY will follow the rest of his team into the grave. Ame is the only survivor. Nobody dies on the side of Tundra.
They all in on Pure, and it was not enough. They didn't have some of the extra spells from the Knicks who got caught up on the side.
Force
Despite
buyback.
dodging the initial initiation on the Monkey King, they output 13,000 damage, and they don't kill a hero.
Oh my god. Wala namatay
The
doon.
Lone Druid will completely laugh it off as Tundra say, we're not going to wait for Roshan, we're going to
Walang
push
game,
your base. Just too much sustain. Not enough single target burst damage. Ame needs more damage. It was a very disjointed fight. Supports the
nahuli pa yung Knicks.
Xtreme Gaming are getting picked off before they can actually get their full 5-man. What a heads-up move. Whitemon, Ramsey, somebody spotted him somewhere in that trees, makes that guess, and now instead of waiting for the Viper in 10 seconds, they will have to wait another 40 to be able to have a Nyx Assassin. Time that Xtreme Gaming might not have. As one full lane of barracks goes down, they can turn their heads towards that mid-melee racks as well if they want, or they could back up for Roshan. Roshan is going to spawn a bit late here, but Tundra should still have control of the pit.
Go into base, refill all the resources, make sure you have everything up for this fight. That was also a fight where Thompson got to live for the entire duration. He didn't get crazy spells that he wanted, but he got a couple of boundless strikes off. He got Viper Strike at the end. Those are the two he's holding on to. Again, that's like the easiest target for you to bring down if you're XG. They just pump everything into the worst thing, which is that bear who lives. If you have Vessel on him, maybe that looks different. But it feels like you have to go on who Jinkyu goes on, and Tundra know it. They're just letting the bear and the Sand King front line. Even Enchantress is not an easy target. You have to pick your poison here. Roshan is respawned. See if Tundra just commit straight into the pit, try and do it. I think they absolutely can. This is a potentially game-ending Aegis here.
Yes.
Really interesting. If Tundra
whoever gets the
Aegis commit to doing this, then it will switch over to the other side, which Xtreme Gaming would be very well positioned. They have a high ground ward on that gate. They have heroes already set up. The lanes are pushing in. Tundra sees some of those heroes. They see the Monkey King, the biggest threat.
You have to do Roshir if you're Tundra.
They're going straight to it, which means they should be able to have it. Xtreme Gaming have no response
Ay,
to this.
GG na to pag nakat.
Ang
grabe yung atake ng Roshan.
That might be the last item you get here before you have to fight for your lives. In a high ground defense situation.
Last
Now, in theory, that
push.
can be a tough
Push
fight
top.
for Tundra. But Lone Druid is one of the
Uy,
best
magigates
players
kayo?
in Dota.
May wards dyan.
Just finished a full assault
Uy, may wards dyan.
Into Ame. Ame says,
Huli kayo! Oh my god, kakasabi ko lang!
Oh, he got the fear, almost push Ame out of it, but the Wukong's man stays alive. Can the damage
Kakasabi ko lang.
How did Pure manage to get out of here?
Tangina, magigits kayo. Ay.
Stun. Where's the stuns? They didn't have it. They go for the bear instead, but they needed that kill on Pure. They needed it to turn the game around.
This hero, sometimes it just does not make any sense. 11,000
Gumamit nga ng
damage
twin
done by
gates,
XG,
may wards
and
doon.
Pure, he just walks it off, man. Gates
Woo!
right into a Wukong, says no problem. If you're XG at this point, like, are you starting to question your own reality? Like, what does it take to bring this Lone Drew down? I think you need all 5
scoreboard.
heroes hitting him.
Yeah.
Unless you find him, you know,
Si
outside
Pure
the
ay
score, which is just not been the
8-1-11.
case for most of the
Isang
season.
beses pa
Yeah,
namatay.
I mean, they need some BKB piercing disables to be able to catch him. I mean, they got the perfect opportunity here.
Yeah, they got him under 250 before the true form, and then he walks it off.
And he just runs away. Pops his BKB. TP's out. I mean, come on.
I think that was another BKB to hero switch, by the way. You got to remember, this Lone Drew only has 3 item slots on his main hero. Pure's been switching them around the whole game.
Yeah.
Yan.
Right now, very clutch
Amplified
plays on the
damage.
itemization slotting from Pure here as he shows off the mechanical ability. XG, they do break down some of that lead, however, and kind of waste a little bit of this Aegis period. By the way, that Aegis went to the Rubik. An interesting choice here, not a high ground breaking Aegis in any capacity. Yes. But I guess if the Lone Drew can't die,
ginagawa mo Topson.
He wants his slots on the hero.
Ame, isa pang team fight, Ame.
In that gate play.
Oh yeah.
Xtreme Gaming. They couldn't do it there. Perhaps a high ground hold is where it's going to happen.
And I will say maybe the biggest talent in this game for changing situations like that would be the Monkey King 25. You can get an extra ring on this Wukong.
Yes.
Suddenly when you disperse or run out of it, maybe you just
Konti
die.
pa.
Maybe Ame doesn't get feared out of it.
Few more levels.
He is basically 1 level off of this Monkey 25. Finished the butterfly, looking towards an Ags.
Yan.
Has buyback
Konti
at
na lang,
300
konti na
gold
lang.
if he wants to hold it up. Feels like so much of this game revolves around the Monkey King, and can he do the damage? Can he find the opening? Can Tundra break XG before this goes ultra late?
A level 25 on Ame would certainly make a huge difference. I mean, they're having the hard time keeping these heroes inside of the Wukong's command because they don't have any BKB piercing stuns, right? They just pop BKBs, walk out of it. A bigger ring would go a long ways.
I mean, they have 4 staffs and dispersers, but it's not as good as just being able to push the monkey out or get out yourself.
Yeah.
Ame skirting around this bottom lane. Looking for some camps, but we'll find nothing here as this game has evened out a bit more.
Huli!
Hook shot across, Whitemon hits his mark thanks to a deep lane ward. DY's life is forfeit. 50 seconds timer for him.
Walang
The bear goes
BKB.
up to the high ground. It's immediately met by staunch resistance. That's a big pit.
That is a
Ba't
very
kasi
big
kay
hit.
Thompson binigay yung
happy
ano?
with the spells he's got right now.
Aegis.
Pick up one more easily.
XH's got to feel a little impotent. Much smaller circle from him, but I guess it's enough. The bear is not able to take down that building, and they will be able to wait out there. Jakiro coming back into play. Tundra Pure uses BKB for that. Get his bear out of there, I assume. So that actually is enough cooldown that Xtreme can farm a bit more. Maybe we'll see some of those key items.
And they're pushing towards this Monkey 25. The biggest thing, the more the Viper can scale, the better too. I mean, we saw the high ground's difficult. You can't just siege with the bear versus the Viper unless you jump the Viper, which there's some potential there for Tundra, but it would kind of require Ramses committing in. He is also closing in on level 25 on the Sand King. Really big talent in terms of the damage output here. This is a scary hero with 6 slots. Maybe a scary late game for both teams in a lot of ways.
Malapit na.
A lot of pressure on Jin Q for this XG lineup to find initiations.
Lapit na, Ame. Konti
That is
na
the best way
lang.
to start a fight.
Level
Like you said, no
25
BKB
na.
piercing ability means your initial stuns are
Grabe si
built
Thompson
to your
level 8.
success. Tundra continue to try and just propose frontliners that you can't
Gamit
go
niya.
on here. Soxa will pick up a Moon Shard on Enchantress, level 20 of his own.
I mean, he pumped out the most damage in that last team
Yes.
fight. This next
Brat
one.
si Saksa kanina.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they have so many threats. They're trying to deal with the bear, see if they can kill the lone druid quickly, deal with Thompson, whose Aegis has expired. Saksa probably just goes unnoticed by Xtreme Gaming in these fights, and those impetuses do build up.
I think they will notice him at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he is the true 3 in this lineup as this Rubik. He's going to be very annoying on the spell power, but damage-wise, this Enchantress is going to do a lot. And at some point, you're going to have to focus him down. I mean, you would love to be able to Viper strike and break him, but
probably not going to happen. Yeah. That Viper is closing in on a Scotty, so his physical threat really starts ramping up. As he's going to be tankier, is just right-clicks here. Even more debilitating for this poor bear. It feels like almost Tundra have to wait for another Roshan and wait for a pickoff. Like, Xtreme Gaming is not just going to sit inside their base the entire time. They need to keep finding more items and more farm.
I was about to say, are they? Because they have been sitting here for a while. That lead was down to 9K. They've given up 5K.
Sorry na ulit kay Ame.
The Aegis is out. In theory, you're not waiting for anything to expire here. You're just waiting. I mean, are you actually waiting for Ame level 25? He bought out for the Ags, by the way. Has his shard as well. This is a Monkey King with no buyback. Trying to get to that talent. The Scotty done for the Viper. Another big point here. Almost 4K HP on XM. And you got your Underlord BKB. I mean, this is as good as it's going to get for XG for a long time. Unless you can win a team fight.
Do you feel like this is a point where they have to contest Roshan, have to smoke up, or do they keep relying on their high ground defense?
To catch 22, that high ground defense is strong for the Viper, but the Roshan fight is very strong for the Monkey King with that level 25 talent, which Ame should have for it. It's kind of which type of team fight do you believe in more at this point? Do you believe you can win this game if you do not claim a Roshan at some point as well?
Okay, they got the 25, instantly smoke up.
They were waiting for it.
Yan na, ang laki niya.
Like, this
ang
is
laking
this was
Wukong's
not a free talent by any means. But it is an insanely powerful one in this game. Still, you have to land the Monkey King Wukong's command here. If you blow this spell or Tundra kite it out, it feels like the team fight's over.
The smoke might just stumble into another smoke from Tundra as they collect all 5 of their heroes.
Baiting the Viper.
Baiting the Viper. Will this be any good for them? Tundra sneaking around the side here, but Xtreme holding the hard left-hand side of the map, playing on that high ground.
Tundra can be the ones more patient here because the creeps are pushing in. In fact, they're setting up on Ame.
Ame, this could be dangerous. Oh, he quickly bound the strikes and away into the trees before Ramses pulls the trigger on that blink stun.
They see the auras potentially on the creeps.
Yeah.
Smoke will pop. That was almost an insanely sick read from Tundra. If they had caught that Monkey King on that wave, that's just game over. He still has no buyback for 650 gold.
What a big ability to steal Firestorm. So dangerous in these fights with that kind of AoE that Thompson has.
And he wants to make it even bigger. Bloodstone coming out for this Rubik shortly. I mean, that pit is the entire fight. This Rubik can become a massive late game problem with just the sheer AoE on a lot of these spells.
Yeah, Firestorm plus the Shard plus Bloodstone. We're talking about some serious regen lifesteal going on there. The Tundra back away. A back out, time to do Tormentor, they say.
Another 1v1.
This is going to be another time where Xtreme are smoked. See the pop-up there that the Dire did the Tormentor.
There's a big shield
so they
rune.
know where they're at.
Give it to Ame. This is a really big rune if they can get a fight out of it. But Tundra should be looking at the lanes right now. They know this is coming.
And Ame, he feels strong with a shield room, but he is going to really jump for Ramses.
Ang laki!
Tundra on the run.
Ubusin mo, Ame! Ubusin mo!
He's going to make it out. His bear will not.
Ay! Uy! May back! Grabe! Ang lakas na! Patay ka! Si Saksa! Brat na naman sa gilid! Nako, patay. Wala na si Ame. Walang BKB.
Ame is going to buy back, but what about the Underlord? What about DY who's left behind on the Jakiro? They won't have all their heroes. They take the fight, they get some kills.
Sayang, ganda na ng Wukong's command ni
That
Ame.
27,000 net worth lead is beginning to show its
Push
face.
it, push it.
Another fight where you look
Push
at
it,
the damage
Jonathan.
numbers and the kills just don't reflect it. Tundra soak it all up there. They're happy to lose their Rubik and a clock to win that exchange. They get the monkey buy, they get the Nyx buy, they get everybody on the side of
Masaya na, mega
Xtreme.
creeps
Just
na.
not enough damage to punch through. Even with a Wukong on basically everybody in a sick boundless strike, all you get is the bear. Pure still stands strong. 11, 1, and 13 on this lone druid. He has been untouchable in this series, and he wants to eliminate the last Chinese team in this TI.
Xtreme, are they going to just give up on Megas, or are they going to try and make this hold?
Napang BKB, 10 seconds.
BKB in 10 seconds. Wukong's command is up. And Tundra are going to call it quits here and go back for Roche.
This game is starting
Roche
to slip
muna,
away, though.
play safe.
Yeah.
Like, there's just not much more you can build to overcome the biggest problem in this game, which has been how do you kill these heroes. And Tundra are
Wow.
going to add
Oh,
Aegis
winning percentage.
to that list, and Ags on the Roche as well.
95%.
If you are having a hard time keeping these heroes inside of the Wukong's command, doing the damage fast enough to kill them,
It's a challenge
what
nila.
does it mean when you have to play against another life?
It's a challenge
on
nila,
one of these
kulang.
cores? A gate straight to it. They cannot afford to give up this Aegis, but no one's actually going through the gate right now. Tundra. Ame sitting up in the back. Jumps.
Yan! Lalaki Ame! Huli ulit! Ay! Naku, oh my god, ang sakit niyan! Ang sakit!
They got a bear kill. Now they have to come in for the Roshan. Ame forward by Ramsey.
Ay, nakuha si Aegis! Ano nakuha ni Ramses?
And Ramses takes the Aegis.
Ay, GG!
Chance in immortality.
My
It is ripped away from
God!
him. And Tundra
Ay!
stomp Xtreme into the ground.
They got basically everything out of that they wanted. Aegis on
Walang
the Sand King,
buyback
an
si
absolute
Ame.
gem.
Nice try.
And Ame out for 110 seconds here. No buyback on the Monkey King. All up to XM and GQ. And it is another fight where you all in the lone druid and you were not even close.
Yung bear lang napatay.
The same team fights going the same ways, running over the same ground, surrounded by the same old fears. Another year of unrealized potential.
Yan, kaya pa!
Another tournament of broken dreams.
Naku, na-force stop.
He can save it, but a force stop in.
Ay, ay, ay.
XM killed. No defense. Ame, XM, both
Ay,
out.
nangasar pa si Ramses.
Left for Xtreme. The best they could do is get a Sand King who had an Aegis anyway. They killed him twice, but Thrice he'll revive. Thrice will come back
Wala
with his team
talaga.
fight to end the game.
Hindi
The
makakoronahan si
Ame.
Ame. Woo! Si Topson, buhay pa. Topson, what are you doing?
Against this European cabal, for lack of a better word. They have just reigned supreme for what feels like the last 2 years, and here it comes again to another European DBC showdown in many ways as Tundra eliminate the Chinese hopes at TI-13.
Wow,
Not
wow,
the way I think
wow.
actually wanted to go out of this tournament. They had so much potential, such high hopes. A top 6 is not going to feel good enough for this team. We saw glimpses of what they could do in these team fights, but ultimately, Tundra just came ready today to play the meta, play the push heroes, play the sustain, and I mean, that pure lone druid, that is the absolute stuff of nightmares. That is a hero-player combination that is going to be haunting Ame decades from now.
Yeah, I think all of these teams are going to be looking at that lone druid in Tundra's hand, in Pure's hands, and questioning whether or not they want to give that up. Through that lone druid, they keep something alive that few have achieved before, the 2-time for Saksa, and something nobody else has laid claim to before, the 3-time for Thompson. The dreams are still alive for some here at the International. One more time, we'll say goodbye to Xtreme Gaming, who were the great hopes for China to be able to have a top performance at TI, but it seems that this region has struggled when it comes to the last few internationals, and they will gracefully exit out at the 5th, 6th place. Meanwhile, though, Tundra are moving on, and we can move to the main stage with an interview.
Thank you very much, Kiat. Yes, I am here with Ramses from Tundra. I mean, top 4 at the International. How does that feel?
No more curses.
No more curses, absolutely not. You break it, you get there. I mean, this is the first for you, right? I mean, with this team as well. Are you feeling good?
Yeah, feel good. I enjoy to be here, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the crowd's behind you as well. That's nice to see. So, who on your team do you put this win down to? You know, who do you feel like performed really, really well here?
Today, Pure play super amazing on the laundry. Yeah, I think Pure is the best.
You think Pure is the best? I think a lot of people would agree with you, but you yourself had some fantastic moments in this game as well. How did it feel at the end there on that Sand King, jumping into the Roshan, getting the Aegis, and basically securing your team the game with the rumble of the crowd? How was that?
I think this moment, if even they have Aegis and I just jump after, it's not gonna money changes. We're gonna win anyway. But they have last try, you know. That's it.
That's it indeed. Well, I mean, you've been playing on this team for about 5 months now. Saxa comes in as well. How are you finding the connection between each other to play this well and make it this far at the International?
I don't know what to say. Saxa is super good player. We not much practice have with him, but we just enjoy tournament and just we'll see what's gonna happen. Maybe we can win. Who knows?
Maybe. Ramses, thank you very, very much for this performance. Congratulations on your top 4 finish. Well done, and we'll send it back to the panel.
Thank you very much, Nomad and Ramses. And yes, for Ramses and for Pure and for Whitemon, this is the first time they got as far as they did here today at the International. Saxa and Thompson obviously have taken the championship in the past. Thompson twice. We'll see how far they can come this time around, but 4th guaranteed here already is quite the milestone, and they get the chance to do the same thing that they did the Falcons again. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. I want to bring it down the cost because we thought maybe there was a chance